Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. Something amazing has happened, and that is the Attorney General of the United States, Florida's own Pam Bondi, has stood up and taken charge of this god-awful incident that happened in Charlotte, North Carolina on the train. And, history, we're going to go break this all down on the program today. History is filled with these moments and god-awful tragedies that spark something. And people say, no more of this. No more of this. We're not going to put up with this anymore. And what happened on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina is one of those things. The people of the United States have been living with an out-of-control crime wave for as long as most of us have been alive, certainly adults. People that live their entire lives, they're born, live, and die in these blue cities, they know no other life other than a life of fear, victimhood, crime, and nothing has been done about it. You have the police on the scene who arrest some people here and there, but nothing has been done about the problem as a whole. That is until now with Donald Trump. And Pam Bondi now, as the Attorney General, is making a move. She's taken federal control over this case in Charlotte. I saw a police chief. I know a lot of people have probably seen this video because it was all over X yesterday, and I'll probably play it later. There was a police chief or senior police officer I saw on a street interview, and he said the average murderer has been picked up 11 times before they're picked up for murder. The civil libertarians on the left have created such softness when it comes to criminals that criminals have no fear. One of the greatest deterrents of crime is going to jail, going to prison. And you've taken that away from a lot of them. They have no fear. They get arrested 10 times, 11 times, a dozen times, 14 times. What do you expect them to do? Except reoffend. Criminals live lives of crime. That's what they do. You don't rehabilitate these people. They continue to commit crimes. Until they're incarcerated for life, and then a lot of them end up doing these terrible things in prison. But once they're in prison, who cares? Who are they hurting? Other terrible people. And we have too many innocent people on the streets that are being victimized each and every day by people that are empowered to do crime by Democrats. I mean, if you think about it, what is something good that the Democrats are offering or have done for this country and for the American people? Can you think of anything? What do the Democrats stand for? And really, frankly, what have they ever stood for? But we're talking about now. What have the Democrats stood up for in the last, year, 6 months, that vote for us, support us, we're going to do this good thing for you? Fill in that blank. Call me on the air at 1-888-465-2631. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. What is one thing the Democrats have done that is a good thing for the American people? I'm not talking about the Latin American people. I'm not talking about the South American people. I'm not talking about the Canadian people that live in North America. I'm talking about the United States of Americans, okay? And the only Americans that I see the Democrats saying, hey, we got your back, are the most violent criminals in our society that should never be free again. What happened? There was a time when Democrats were tough on crime. Remember President Clinton with that 3 strikes, you're out? What happened to that? It's like 3 strikes, you're just getting warmed up. Come on. So this has happened for a lot of reasons. I'll tell you what a crime is that coffee right there is the worst tasting coffee I've ever had. In fact, it tastes so bad that the bad taste may energize me and wake me up more than the caffeine content of it. But that's okay. We'll keep on trekking. But, okay, hold on, okay. Yeah. You know, the Democrats are offering absolutely nothing. Nothing. Except death, destruction, and violence. But if you're a criminal, whether you're an illegal alien, and that fake Maryland man, a human trafficker who beats his wife, you know, I'm going to play a clip in a little bit in the next hour when we get into the show of Van Jones, who actually has sympathy for this murderer. And I got to tell you, the new footage that's come out of the train incident is so disturbing, because I think most of us assumed that she passed right away because she was stabbed in the neck. That's not the case. That's not the case. It took her quite some time to die. She knew she was dying. This monster did the terrible thing that he did, and he walked away, and the people around her, not only did not one single person get up and tried to do something to stop the bleeding, which may have been not helpful, or maybe it would have bought her some time for first responders. We don't know. Not only did no one get up out of their seat to help her, some of them have been seen now by witnesses. They took out their phones and started filming. What, for their Instagram wall? What's going on here? For their TikTok? What's happened in the country that you have people on a train that see a young woman stabbed in the neck, and they sit there and do nothing other than look, watch her die, and film it on their cell phones? What's happened here? Now, I do understand people not getting involved and getting in front of a knife or a weapon that a deadly person has. I can see that. I know all of us would like to say we'd stand up and take that guy down, and maybe you would, maybe I would. I can understand the shock and fear that would stop someone from doing that. Although it's shocking that no one attempted to help her before he killed her, before he did what he did. But after he walked away and she's alive and bleeding out and not a single person stood up to help her? The idiot mayor of that city, Charlotte, just won the primary yesterday. You know, these blue city governments are failed governments. They have collapsed. The number one duty of government is to keep their citizens safe, and they have not done that. Now, the radio show is going to start in about a minute. If you're on hold, stand by. After they flip us over at the radio station, which will be in about a minute, I'll do a quick recap, and then I'm going to share the announcement from the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, announcing that she's going to get involved and take charge, and that they're federalizing this case. They really, I think we're at a point where some of these blue cities need to be completely taken over by the federal government because their governments have failed. Now, if you want to call in and share your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree, the number is pinned in the live chat. Okay, you can call me. It's toll free no matter where you're located. If you're on hold, hang in there. We will get to the calls shortly. We've got about 20 seconds. Man, that coffee is really bad. Ugh. But I need the caffeine, so I got to drink it. I guess I could go add some cream to it, but I don't want all that sugar. All right, let's go. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio, the Steve Kane Show. And we've got a lot to cover today. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls in a bit. Some major follow-up on the incident in Charlotte. But I want to ask you this. Tomorrow is the 25th anniversary since the Islamic terrorist attack of September 11th. Is it appropriate to have a Muslim man be the mayor on the 25th anniversary of 9/11? Tomorrow's the 24th anniversary. Did I say the 25th? Tomorrow is the 24th anniversary of September 11th. And let me tell you, those of you that were adults then, that was a scary day. What happened was scary. What happened was frightening. We didn't know when the attack was going to stop. But a year from tomorrow will be quarter of a century since the September 11th Islamic terrorist attack on this country. New poll out has Zohan Mamdani so far ahead in the polls, he's unbeatable. Is it appropriate to have a Muslim mayor of New York City 25 years after the Islamic terrorist attack of 9/11? That's a serious question I'm asking you. I want to hear your thoughts on that. If I would have told you that 24 years ago that it was going to happen, you would have laughed me off the air and said I was insane. That would never happen. And I know some of the 9/11 families are going to be speaking today and tomorrow. I hope they speak out against this. If Mamdani is the mayor of New York City on the 25th anniversary of September 11th, which he would be if these polls hold, does that mean that we lost the war on terror? I'm serious. Who won the war? I mean, listen, if 24 years after Pearl Harbor, you had a Japanese governor of Hawaii, would that have been appropriate? Who would have won the Second World War? Now, I want to get into, that's a serious question, and I want to hear your thoughts on that at 1-888-465-2631. I'm not kidding. That is not a rhetorical question. I don't think it's appropriate. Where's the firefighters union? Where's the police union? Where are the survivor families talking about this? They're going to do a lot of interviews. It is very appropriate to ask this question. I don't care if it puts them on the spot. So Pam Bondi has stepped up. Did you catch her on Hannity? She's gotten involved in the Charlotte case. Let me play this, and then we'll continue on with it. This is the Attorney General of the United States, Florida's own Pam Bondi, on Hannity last night on Fox News.
Sean, we are going to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. We have taken the case because it's murder on mass transit. Progressive DAs cannot handle this case. The progressive DA in North Carolina in Charlotte, his name is Spencer Merriweather, he believed in letting him sign a written promise to appear. He participated in passing that, agreeing to let criminal defendants sign a written promise to appear in court. That's what he was allowed to do in July. Weeks later, he murdered Iryna. Unbelievable that this happened. No longer. We have jurisdiction now. We will not let a progressive DA keep this case. Justice will be served. He'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He had 14 prior arrests. He had been to prison before for assaulting someone, robbery with a firearm. He had had 3 assaults, 1 on a woman, not charged, yet he made multiple 911 calls again, gets arrested, and was told to appear because he wrote a written promise to appear in court. Had he been held in custody, she would be alive today. This has zero to do with politics. I've been a prosecutor for a very, very long time. This is one of the most gruesome murders I've seen in my career. President Trump cares about it. I was with him today because he saw that video. He saw that horrific video of this young woman with her mother who fled to our country for protection from Ukraine. She worked at a pizza restaurant. She was coming home from work, still wearing her uniform, got on that bus, and never made it off the mass transit.
There you go. So Pam Bondi's taken over the case. You know, last week when President Trump renamed the Defense Department, the War Department, the Department of War, and the Secretary of Defense back to Secretary of War, that's a very important thing. You know, since 1945, we've been involved in this policing of the world, all these police actions, right? Kuwait, Iraq, Bosnia, Grenada, all these things, right? Of course, Vietnam, Korea, all these things. But who's been policing here? You know, what the left will tell you, you can't be an isolationist. Well, you know, you can be concerned about world affairs too much, where you ignore your own home. There's some new video that came out on the murder that is some of the most disturbing I've seen. I assumed that Iryna, and I think you all did too, died almost immediately because he stabbed her, what was it, twice in the neck. She didn't. She saw him before he stabbed her. It's the most terrifying look I've ever seen on a woman's face. Really, a girl. She was a child. And he did what he did, and she didn't die right away. It took her quite some time. She suffered. She knew what was happening. And you look at these low-life scumbuckets sitting in the seats around her, and I saw the sickest, most twisted thing I've ever seen with American citizens in this country, other than somebody who's a murderer, of course. The people sitting around her on the train, because we're getting more images from it. She's been stabbed twice in the neck. She's bleeding out. The monster murderer left. The people sitting around her, what they did next, I know people are obsessed over this. Karen with the baseball at the Marlins game over the weekend, and she's a weirdo. But what these people did was that times infinity. So he stabbed her twice in the neck. She's bleeding out. She's sitting up. She knows what happened. She knows what's happening. Not one of those people, after the killer had left, got up to try to stop the bleeding. Maybe it wouldn't have helped. Maybe it would have bought her time. Who knows? But none of them got up and put their hand over her neck to try to stop the blood from pumping out with every heartbeat. No one took their shirt off and wrapped it around the wounds to try to stop the bleeding. In fact, some of them took out their phones and started filming her dying. This is insane to me. And I'll tell you this. I know each and every one of us would like to say we would have gotten up and intervened and stopped him from stabbing her. And I know we'd like to say that. But I don't know. Somebody who's a madman, it happens so quick, you're momentarily in shock. You're going to put yourself in front of a weapon. You've got a wife, you've got a husband, you've got kids, grandkids, you've got family at home, you've got your own life. I understand a momentary pause with that. I really do. I know most people, I'd be right there. Okay, guy, okay. I'd like to think I would too. But we never know until you're in that situation. But I do know this for certain. I know this for a fact. That every single person I know, including myself, after the monster walked away and the blood is coming out of the wounds on her neck with each and every one of her heartbeats, and that's a very bloody thing, I would have gotten up to try to help with the bleeding. Wouldn't you? What is wrong with these sick, twisted people in Charlotte, North Carolina? You know, my only experience being in Charlotte is I've been at that airport so many times changing planes. So I only know Charlotte, North Carolina by the airport. Any of you been there for the layover? It's a beautiful airport. It's one of the coolest, most relaxing airports I've ever been to. You don't even have to walk through most of it. They've got the moving floor, like an escalator kind of thing, a bell that's nice. They've got those awesome rocking chairs. It looks like such a nice southern place. I did not know that it was a city filled with psycho, sicko people who would not even help a dying girl who was bleeding to death right in front of them and would take out a phone and film it. What an embarrassment. If you're on hold, stand by. My name's Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back. I mean, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to the calls in a bit. What do you, in a word, I'm talking about when the people, after the killer left and she's bleeding out, in a word, describe for me in the chat how you would describe those people that didn't get up and try to help her with the bleeding. And filmed her. In a word, how would you describe those people? I've never seen something so disgusting in my life as that. It makes me physically ill. They were scared, then why'd they take out their phones? I think they're just uncaring sociopaths. That's what I think. I will take the calls when we get back. After I play a clip. Those of you that are watching that see the green behind me, if you jump over to my other stream on my YouTube channel here, you can see and hear the videos and all of that I share. On the stream with the green behind me, you'll see and hear me and the callers, but the audio sound bites of the video, you got to hop over to the other stream for. I mean, I've never seen anything as disgusting as those people. I mean, they're not too far behind the killer. I would put the other passengers on that train in the same category as the judges, in the very least, that let this monster go 14 times with all these violent crimes that he was involved in. I mean, I was in shock that none of them got up to help her with the bleeding. I just couldn't believe that. And, you know, they should be ashamed of themselves. Are they? Who knows? Right? Who knows? Well, I'm going to pull up this clip of this monster, Van Jones, who's just a complete crazy person, Van Jones. And I gotta go through a commercial first.
You know, let me just say a couple.
This guy, I mean, I was just blown away by Van Jones. If you're on hold, stand by. We got about a minute, and we'll be back. Less than a minute. By the way, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the program, like the video, and if you guys could take the link to the video and share on your social media, I'd appreciate that. Helps the channel, helps grow the channel. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Okay, so if you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the phone shortly. So I want to play that. I'm going to play this. I was going to play just the clip, but I'm going to play it because I don't want anyone to think or say that I'm taking this out of context. Van Jones is psychotic. When I saw this story on social media of what Van Jones said, I was like, there's no way. That's got to be some clickbait headline, until I heard him say, I'm not even going to describe, I'm just going to play this for you. Of course, talking about this monster that murdered this poor young, I'm going to call her a child. I mean, she's 23 years old. That's a child to me. Listen to this monster, Van Jones.
Let me just say a couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible. And it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space,
Captain
subway,
Obvious.
whatever, that something bad is going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened.
I mean, listen to this idiot. He's upset at some words that Charlie Kirk said. That's what he's worried about? Some words that Charlie Kirk said? What about the girl who's dead? Or her mother who lost her daughter? You're worried about some words, sticks and stones, dummy.
And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. Even when you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting.
Oh my goodness, he's doing freaking therapy here. We don't know how to deal with people that were hurting the way the man was hurting. He's talking about the murderer.
This is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting.
Yeah, we do. Lock them up in prison for the rest of their life. That we do know how to deal with them, Van Jones. And by the way, is he wearing a Ukraine flag ribbon on his lapel or something?
Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned.
Charlie Kirk should be ashamed of himself. I don't care what a man said. I care about these judges that set a killer free on public transportation in a city to kill a young girl. How many other people in this country are dead because of liberal judges? He's concerned about the words of Charlie Kirk? Van Jones needs to have his head examined. He needs some serious psychological evaluations done. This is insanity.
The word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
Van, I'm going to agree with you. I don't care.
You're going to agree? Who are you? Who's this idiot that's agreeing with Van Jones on this? My response would be I am disturbed and disgusted that I'm sitting next to such a crazy man. In fact, Van Jones, what you're saying is so crazy, I need to move down the table a little bit because I think you're unstable.
Who was white and who was black. Yeah. I don't know how Charlie Kirk got into it. I agree with you on that. The reason there were no changes passed.
Okay, it was a racial hate crime. Come on. All right, I'm going to take some calls. I'm going to tell you this in advance of the calls. It's not open phones today. I've got two topics on the table. We're talking in general about this god-awful incident in Charlotte, North Carolina on the train. And I asked a question. Tomorrow will be the 24th anniversary of the September 11th Islamic terrorist attacks on our nation. There's a new poll out showing Mamdani way ahead. I don't know how accurate that poll is. These liberals at these newspapers, who knows? But is it appropriate? Because if these polls are accurate and Zohan becomes the mayor, on the 25th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks that brought down the World Trade Center buildings, we'll have a Muslim mayor of New York City on the 25th anniversary next year, if the polls are accurate. Do you believe, yes or no, is it appropriate 25 years after 9/11 to have a Muslim mayor of the city who will not condemn the global intifada of which 9/11 was a part of? Also, if we have a practicing Muslim mayor, too, of New York City on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, who won the war? Did we win, or have we been conquered in a way that you don't even realize you've been conquered? But I am keeping the discussion on those topics and nothing else. And I'm very upset at watching these bystanders do nothing as a child on a train is slowly dying, bleeding out in a horrible death. And I don't have a lot of patience for a bunch of liberal nonsense. So I'm not going to be dancing too much with some of you idiots out there today. I'm going to tell you that in advance. All right? Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Real Curse from Texas.
Okay.
I actually, been crying all night, Brian, once I saw that video and everything you talked about. It was real upsetting. The most upsetting part was the fact that it happened, last month, and we're just now hearing about it now, and the fact that she was left to bleed to death and crying before she passed away. It was real sad. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry right now because it was sad. And, I've been through a lot of situations similar like that here in Texas, and it's upsetting that these Democrats think it's normal and they defend these situations like this. It needs to stop.
Well, what you hear, what Van Jones is saying on CNN is we need to understand the pain of the murderer. What is he talking about?
I don't know, man, but...
All right, yeah, all right. Before he gets to his punchline. You're on the air. See what I mean? Psychos on the left. The left are psychotic. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's Sandra from Boca. How are you?
Hey, Sandra. Hold on. Let me answer all these many phones. I'm sorry. My phones are ringing off the... Go ahead, Sandra from Boca.
Yeah. Are you talking about this morning the additional footage that came out? Is that what you're referring to?
There was more footage that came out yesterday and this morning. And
I saw it.
And it shows, for those that are just tuning in, what we're finding out is that Iryna did not die fast. I assumed it was real quick because it was 2 stab wounds to the neck. She died slowly, painfully, bleeding out. He left the scene. The other passengers, no one got up to help her with the bleeding, to try to save her or help her. And some of them took out their cell phones and started filming her. I'm just disgusted by it. It makes me physically ill.
Well, President Trump made a statement about it, and he looked like he was going to vomit.
Yeah, he's seen the whole video. That's why.
As the president maintained his composure, but you could tell he just disgusted. Yeah. And that clip that you just played of Van Jones, is he for real?
Yeah.
Because is he for real?
Yes.
You know what he does? He skims. If you notice, he skims over the part about the murder. Skims over it. That's the most horrible thing that can be done. Yeah, it's everybody's nightmare. And then he talks for another 10 minutes about the injustice on the murderer.
Well, what he does is he states the obvious that you and I don't have to state. It's just assumed that we're upset about it. But he pretends to have empathy so he can say these stupid perversions that came out of his mouth after that.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know how he was hurting. Huh?
I don't give a you-know-what about how he was hurting.
Yeah, what have we become? That would be my response to him. What have we become then?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having a bad day, and I'm just going to be some sick maniac, and I'm going to go out and kill somebody?
Exactly.
Is that how it becomes? You have a bad marriage. You owe the IRS money. The list goes on and on. Everybody has problems.
That's right.
So I'm glad you played that clip. Thank you.
Well, thank you for calling. Oh, boy. Those of you on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go back to the phones after the break. No, but not only did no one help after the because you got what you got to understand about them not helping, the threat was gone because he left. So there was no longer a threat. Right? And for them not to help when the threat was gone is a whole new level of crazy. It really, truly is. Now, I want to, while we're in break, this is our bottom of the hour break for the radio. President Trump went out to this restaurant last night. Okay, and Laura Loomer's been posting about this on X all night. How did these Code Pink lunatics know where he was going? There's been a security breach. There's been a security breach, and someone leaked out that the President of the United States was going not only out to dinner, but to this place. Who leaked out the plans of the president? That's right. And Laura Loomer has been covering this a lot. You had the president and the vice president, the Secretary of State and the Secretary of War. They were all there. And Laura Loomer said this security breach, we could have ended up with Speaker Mike Johnson as president this morning because the line of succession was all there above him. Someone leaked this out. They need to be arrested. There's, these pink ladies, they just didn't happen to be there. Whether it was Secret Service, someone that works at the White House, whether it was someone from another agency that knows about the travel plans, or someone from the restaurant who got tipped off that he was coming, although I don't think so. I don't think they let the restaurant know in advance the president's coming. That's one of the security measures is if you go somewhere unannounced, you don't need to do all the advanced security because no one knows you're going, right? So why or how did the Code Pink ladies know where he was going? Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Loomer's all over this. I mean, she's not messing around. Loomer does not mess around, and because she has the president's ear, this will most definitely come to his mind if it is not already. It may have last night right away. He may have been wondering what was going on last night. But this is pretty frightening to me. Now, there's a lot of people on these different staffs that could have leaked it out, and there's a lot of career people. So but there's definitely someone who leaked it out. Oh, Loomer's awesome. Laura Loomer's awesome. I'm glad she's all over this because since she is all over this, if the president didn't think of it last night when it was happening, he will now because Loomer's on this. Yeah, there was definitely a major security breach last night with the president. You're seeing it right here. Now, those of you that watch, I have 2 live streams going on in the mornings. If you're watching the live stream where you see the green screen behind me, if you jump over to my other stream here on my YouTube channel, you can see the video and hear the audio and all of that I play. You get all the benefits of the green screen over there. So hop over to the other stream and you can see and hear the video, including the video I'm showing right now of these Code Pink ladies who were tipped off by some criminal that the president, the vice president, the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of War were all going to this restaurant, and they were there. They were there with chance ready in numbers. Okay, we got about a minute, and we'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. I got to have some more of this god-awful coffee. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And If you could please like the video and take the link and share on your socials, that would be great. That helps grow the channel a lot. Okay, all right. We are back unexpectedly. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. President Trump went out to dinner last night to show how safe D.C. is now. He went to a restaurant that's not his, and something happened pretty bad. The Code Pink ladies not only showed up, they were in the restaurant chanting their garbage. The president showed up. It was the president, the vice president, the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of War. How did these Code Pink ladies know that the President of the United States was going to be at this unannounced restaurant? Someone needs to get arrested here. There was a major security breach. And if you look at the footage in the restaurant, it was chaotic. There's footage out there. I'm looking at it now. And it was put out there by these pink ladies. They were within inches of the president, the Secretary of State, the vice president, and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Who leaked it? Who knows? Could have been. There's a lot of career people in the government that would know. Secret Service, White House staff. Someone connected to the local police. Someone leaked to the pink ladies that the cabinet was coming. Now, Laura Loomer is like freaking out over this for good reason, and I'm glad she is, which means the president's going to be really all over this today to find out where the security breach was and how this happened. But Loomer said we almost had Speaker of the House MAGA Mike Johnson as the president last night because of this security breach. The entire senior cabinet, the line of succession was there, and someone leaked out. What is going on here? Pretty frightening. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian.
Yes.
This is KJ, the parodist, and you changed your frequency.
Yeah, we're picking up.
You're not on 96?
Yeah, we're picking up a. We haven't announced it yet, although I know what it is, but I can't tell you yet. We are picking up a new station. It will be very soon announced, and we're going to have the largest reach we've ever had on this program. It's
okay. Well,
yeah.
I missed your show. I tried to tune in last week, and I heard some reggae.
We're at 96.9. Yeah, but the new station we will announce it very soon. Will increase our reach like we've never had on this program before. But you can listen on iHeartRadio or my YouTube channel or something. You can pick us up on all these places. Until then, but it'll be announced any day. I already know. I just can't tell you. I just can't tell you yet.
Okay, I understand. But the only thing is I don't have a computer. I don't have anything but
come on,
like
really? In 2025? Oh my goodness! All right. Well, I can't help you, but keep.
Hey, I'm 71. All right.
Okay.
I'm 71. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Well, keep in touch because we'll be announcing it real soon. All right. But you can try. Try 95.3. Okay.
95.3.
That's one of our other stations. But we'll be announcing the new one very, very soon. And
okay, because I'm in Oakland Park. I don't know if I pick up 95.3, but I'll try that.
All right, appreciate it. All right, take care. Yeah, I'm very excited. I wish we could announce it already, but we can't. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sorry, I'm on the air?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm calling from beautiful, sunshiny Cleveland, Ohio. The sun's not up here yet, though.
Mm-hmm.
My first time calling in. I actually just caught your show on my feed. And I don't really run in these circles, but I figured I'd call in because you mentioned that you were taking calls about a Zoran in New York.
Well, specifically,
like...
yeah, I've never heard beautiful with Cleveland. I've been to Cleveland many times. All the jokes are well deserved. The question I was asking, tomorrow is the 24th anniversary of the Islamic terrorist attack of 9/11. There's a new poll out showing Zohan like 30 points ahead or something of all the other candidates. And the question I'm asking, two questions about this. Is it appropriate to have a Muslim mayor of New York City on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, which would happen if he wins? And if we have an Islamic mayor of New York City, did we win or lose the war on terror?
Is it appropriate? I think having a Muslim mayor of a major American city is as appropriate as any other religion, to be quite honest.
Well, yeah, but see, with Zohan, there's a different thing. This is the thing with Zohan, okay? It's not just because he's Muslim, okay? He refuses to condemn the global intifada, which is the global Islamic war, okay? September 11th, which killed 3,000 Americans and knocked down the World Trade Centers, buildings, towers, that was part of the global intifada that he will not condemn. So by not condemning the global intifada, he's refused to condemn the September 11th terrorist attacks.
I believe he's actually specifically condemned 9/11. I mean, I think it would be pretty odd.
Nope. It would, wouldn't it?
I mean, I've not met the guy. And, I don't want to go back and forth on, facts. But I do find that quite difficult to believe. It doesn't really pass the same
I know, it's
test.
crazy. I know, it's nuts. It's crazy.
And, as a matter of fact, I have seen him live on the air condemn 9/11.
I haven't. I'm going to look it up right now while we're talking. But the 9/11 is part of the global intifada, which he has refused to condemn.
I think this really is like a question of semantics.
I just did a quick Google search. Okay, so this is not like some deep dive research. This is just I just did a Google search, and this is what I searched: Zohan Mamdani condemned 9/11. This is Google, which is left wing, right? As of September 2025, Zohan Mamdani has not issued a statement condemning the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Do you think that he's going to do 9/11 again? What's the concern?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
See, there are some things. There are some things that are universally human, and American.
I
mean,
agree.
yeah, and even you, before you learned that, even you said you couldn't believe that he had not condemned 9/11. I just told you he had, and now you're trying to get me to say that all Muslims are terrorists. That's absurd. That's like saying all Americans are in the Marines.
Anything like that.
No. You said, do you think he's going to do another 9/11? You were implying through what you thought was a clever question, but it wasn't.
If I want to say something, I'm not going to imply it. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah. But you said you were in shock. You said I can't believe he would not have condemned 9/11, and quick Google search reveals that he is not.
I think an important question here is, I'm not going to, I simply don't believe that he thinks 9/11 was a particularly good thing to have happened, right? That's not exactly a mainstream opinion. He's just sort of barely outside of the mainstream, I would say. I think the more important question really is like, why is it that Zohan Mamdani, every time he shows up anywhere, is asked to condemn Hamas, to condemn 9/11, to condemn Islamic terror attacks when other people in the race are not? And the reason for that is because he's Muslim, right? Which, I don't universally hold all Muslims accountable for all Islamic terror attacks, right? And that would be a silly thing to do, right? So I think, creating a ton of pressure around this particular sequence of words of like a, of a,
let me just for clarification, how old are you?
I don't really want to give out too much personal information about myself.
How old are you? A number? Come on.
I'm in my 20s.
So you weren't around, or you were a baby. You don't remember 9/11. So it doesn't mean anything to you.
I was not around 9/11, but my parents watched
Your
the towers
parents
fall.
were, yeah, okay. Well, my grandfather was in the Second World War and went to a concentration camp. It's not like being there. You don't understand 9/11. Excuse me. You were not. You didn't have the 9/11 experience that somebody who was alive and an adult had. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that after 9/11, something happened in this country that has not happened before or since, although it was brief. There was complete party unity. Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, and Robin Williams, they put together a concert for America in New York City. And I remember Billy Crystal got up and said, there's no Republicans and there's no Democrats. That weirdo, idiot, Rosie O'Donnell was even praising Republican President George W. Bush. We were a nonpartisan country at the time, although it was brief. And it was an experience that you just don't understand. And 25 years later, which will be next year's anniversary, to have a Muslim mayor who has not condemned 9/11 and has refused to condemn the global intifada, of which 9/11 was a part of, I would say that maybe New York City has been conquered and not won in the war, if that were to happen.
That New York City is going to be conquered in a global Islamic war?
Well, I would say that we would not. It would be an indicator that that we lost the war, and that we were being conquered in a non-military like way. Correct, like England has been.
Sorry, I'm just struggling to wrap my head around this
idea.
I'm
that, sure. Yeah.
We bombed the Middle East back to the Stone Age, right? We've locked out half of those countries from international trade, right? We basically operate Israel and Saudi Arabia as proxy states, right? We control global arts and culture, right? We decide who lives and dies, right? Throughout the Middle East and throughout the Muslim world, and yet somehow electing a Muslim American citizen in the crown jewel of the United States is somehow a sign that we've lost that war.
Yeah, and in fact, if to go back in time, if this were September 12th, 2001, the day after the attack, and I had the ability to show the world the future, and I showed Gracie Mansion. Gracie Mansion is the official residence of the mayor of New York. They have their own residence, like the White House.
I've been there.
Okay. So if on September 12th, 2001, I had this crystal ball and showed people the future and showed that a Muslim man and his Muslim wife from Dubai, where they had one of their 3 weddings, he'd be the mayor of New York, and they'd be living in the home that America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, currently lives in, people would have told me I was nuts. And here we are.
Well, I think if you go back, 25 years, lots of things sound nuts to people who've just been through like a terrible, terrifying,
really? Give me an example.
Event.
Give me an example of another thing like that. 25 years. I mean, listen. If when we had World War II, right? Pearl Harbor was attacked. 25 years after. See, 25 years seems like 100 years to you because you're a kid, right? You're in your 20s. It's not that long ago. 9/11 seems like yesterday to me.
Don't go after all your listeners.
I'm telling you, you're young. You don't understand. I mean, the microphone that I'm using, I've had this mic since 98. I love this mic. I was talking into this mic that I'm using now on 9/11. When the attacks happened, I was live on the air when it happened. It was crazy. And what I'm telling you is 25 years after the attack by the Japanese on Pearl Harbor would have been 1966. If there would have been a Japanese president of the United States sleeping in the White House, that would have been a sign that we lost the Second World War.
Okay, I don't quite understand where a Japanese president. This is like totally outside the original scope of this question.
No, it's the same. It's taking it away from something that's a little less controversial so you could have some perspective.
Is 9/11 controversial?
Not condemning it is, and doing it was. Hell yeah.
I think basically everyone universally agrees 9/11 was bad. I think saying that 9/11
No, they
is
don't.
like
Not everyone. No,
continued.
not everyone. In fact, when 9/11 happened, a lot of liberals in this country, Bill Clinton was one of them, Mario Cuomo, the father of the Cuomo boys, right? One of them is running for mayor today. They were asking questions. What did we do to cause them to knock down these buildings? Democrats were saying after 9/11. Listen. I got to run for a commercial break, but welcome to the show, and call me again sometime.
Sure thing, man.
All right, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. What are your thoughts on that, by the way, on Mom Donnie winning and being mayor on the 25th anniversary? What are your thoughts on that? If he's mayor of New York on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, did we win or lose the war? Win or lose? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? It's crazy to think about. Yeah. It's hard to believe where we are, but we are where we are. I'm just queuing up some things for later in the show. There we go. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the phones when we get back. We'll be back shortly, guys. We'll be back in less than 90 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. There's one opening on the board. And by the way, look at this. The closeout sale of the year right now at MyPillow with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. Look at this. The Percale sheets, just $29.88. Any size, any color. You're saving $90 a set. Plus, you've got the free shipping offer there with our promo code Kane. So go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, for huge savings. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Every line on the board is full. So, yeah. Oh, boy. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, New York, you would think that the people in New York have learned their lesson with de Blasio and the rest of the idiots that they have running the city after Mayor Giuliani. But if they haven't, they can get what they deserve again, man. I'm hoping that they're not that stupid, but we'll soon find out, man. Unfortunately, we don't really have any good good candidates to go against this guy. Maybe somebody will come out of the woodwork and.
Well, if some of them would start asking
if
some of these candidates would start asking the questions I'm asking, maybe things would turn a little bit. Instead of saying, "Vote for me, I can win. Vote, I'm not stepping out. I'm gonna win." I mean, they're idiots. They're not Curtis Sliwa and all the rest. They're not even really running.
They're not.
They're killing time.
They're not doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, not doing a good job. Somebody's got to, either a new guy got to come up, or somebody's got to wake up and stop this guy, because I can't see how anybody would want to vote for that guy. But
that's right. Again, you're right. I appreciate it. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on the air.
IB in Broward.
Hey, IB.
Listening to you in the last week in some of your podcasts, I agreed with you that we just might as well let New York get what they deserve, because if you want to put a guy in there that's going to unleash the most rudest of rude people. I've been wanting to use this terminology. This movie, the one with Jet Li, when all the bad guys at the end of the movie is in the jail, those are the kind of people that this guy wants on the street, the worst of the worst.
That's right.
And you have to see the visual to understand that. Mm-hmm. Now, remember, this guy want to give you all government-run food stores where your choices will now be limited. So imagine New York becoming a little mini London right now. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's what
that's great.
What you guys are voting for.
Yeah, you're right.
Stay out of Texas. Stay out of Florida, okay? We don't want you guys coming down here.
All right, take care. All right, IB. I don't know where he's going. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? I'm asking some questions here, not just some random rants about your thing. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Derek from Arizona.
Yeah, Derek.
Hey, just a question.
Oh, yes.
Do you think Trump's auto pen signed the Epstein birthday card?
Not only do I know that didn't happen, the president is suing the newspaper that published those slanders, and there have been No, there's a new lawsuit coming. No, there's a new lawsuit coming.
Oh, sure.
All right, keep up with the news. And the president himself denied it last night at the restaurant. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I'd like to, first of all, real quick with this guy that just called you up. If you just take a look, if that guy would educate himself and just take a look what's happened to Europe with the infiltration of Muslims in government, especially England and France, okay, and you could see exactly the direction it's going. The other thing I want to say, it's in the United States government too. Just look at the squad and what's going on. You put these people in government, all of a sudden things start happening here that are anti.
Well, you heard, the guy from Cleveland, he couldn't believe that Zohan did not condemn 9/11. I pull it up that he didn't, and then he starts defending him not condemning 9/11. See how liberals are?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like a real-time flip.
Now I want to bring up this poor lady. I saw the video, and she literally was sitting there minding her own business and looked at the guy after the stabbing like, what are you... She looked like, I can't believe you've done this to me. And then it was so disgusting, and I saw the death come over her eyes. That was not a murder. That was an execution. And I think of myself driving these people for 32 years all over the street. Listen, the fact of the matter is that they are amongst us. They're crazy people out there, and we have to get them off the street. I don't want to hear this liberal gobbledygook that you got to start opening up insane asylums and start putting them there. This never was going on in the 50s like this.
It's
and
true.
The 60s. It started with Geraldo Rivera. And I got to tell you, listen, it's really disgusting, man. I mean,
well, what do you say? As a guy that drove a bus for all those years, when I can give the people a break for not intervening when the guy had the killer leaves.
It's disgusting.
She's bleeding out. I've never seen something where citizens didn't get up and try to help someone who was bleeding out like that. I've never seen it before.
Really sick. And by the way, the other thing I want to say, when somebody gets cut like that, it is very personal because it's up close. It's not like they say a firearm. It's not. This was so personal. The look on her face, it's horrifying. If somebody, this was an execution, and they got people on death row, by the way, that are on there for 20, 30 years that the state is afraid to give him an
yeah,
injection.
but Van Jones said that we can understand what he was feeling.
Yeah, his feelings should be he should actually be hung by his neck to die. And right in front of everybody.
All right, Richie. All right, we're on that note, we're up against the top of the hour. If you're on hold, I'm opposed to the death penalty, by the way. I'm a pro-life person all around. A life of solitaire confinement, not the card game. That would be appropriate. If you're on hold, stand by. There's one opening on the board at 1-888-465-26. Oh, no, every line is lit. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Yeah, this is the clip of Van Jones. Watch this.
We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who were hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who were hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people.
The way he's talking about the murderer. We don't know how to deal with people that were hurting the way this man was hurting. What is Van Jones talking about?
We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who were hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him.
Wow. I mean, in a word, how would you describe Van Jones? I mean, that is insanity. It's complete insanity. Do you think that if the skin color was reversed, would Van Jones be concerned about, was he concerned about the feelings of George Zimmerman or Derek Chauvin? What do you think? I don't think he was. Pam Bondi's on the case, though.
This progressive DA was not holding people accountable for crimes. You have to have consequences if you commit crimes. Yet 14 arrests. The guy had been to prison for firearm charges, for a robbery, yet he was on the street. He should not have been on the street, Sean. That beautiful young woman would have been alive today. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with prosecution, and that's why my office has taken this case. We will not let a progressive DA get this case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Pam Bondi's on the job here, but I would have to question the mental fitness of Van Jones. I really would. I'm not going to do any recapping. I'm just going to go back to the phones when we get back. So if you're on hold, stand by. There's one opening. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back in about a minute. Let me check the exact time. Less than a minute, actually. Yes. Yeah, I mean, just a total sleaze bag. Yeah, I mean, that was just complete insanity, Van Jones. I've never seen or heard anything that nuts from someone like that. That's just a whole new level of crazy. All right, we've got about 20 seconds, so let's stand by. Welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane Show. Second hour has begun. I'm not going to recap. We got two things on the table. We're talking about the new poll with Zohan shows him like 30-something points ahead or something crazy. Tomorrow's the 24th anniversary of the September 11th Islamic terror attacks on New York City, on America. Zohan has not condemned 9/11. If he were to win, he would be the mayor on the 25th anniversary of that attack. Is that appropriate? And will we have lost or won the war if he were to become mayor? And also we're talking about the latest updates with the Charlotte murder. All right, let's just go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. How you doing?
All right.
Hey, I'm a long-time listener. I go back to Neil Rogers and Bob Grant and so on. I've been following you guys for over 40 years.
Wow.
And I just have, very briefly, I want to compliment you again. I've spoken to you before, and I still feel like you should have replaced Rush Limbaugh. But these other two guys bore the hell out of me. But anyway, very, very briefly, I want to compliment you for all the work you do, especially after you spoke to that young man that was 22-year-old a few minutes ago. He had nothing to understand about 9/11. You're right. You and I lived it. And I'm the old guy, 94 years old, and I'm still working and driving, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the XC-130 pilot and the XCIA driver.
Yep. Yeah, I know. What's going on here in this country is insane right now. And I'm listening to all the talk of the 24th anniversary tomorrow, and I haven't heard anyone in the media bring up that Zohan has not condemned 9/11. No one.
Yeah. Hey, let me one more compliment. I really love Richie, the bus driver, and the masked lady in Boca. You have a lot of people that make good sense and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Good morning. It's Joanne in Tamarack.
Hey, Joanne.
I am wondering. Nobody is talking about a week or so ago. A beautiful 58-year-old. Blonde veterinarian professor went to take her dog for a walk in a park in Auburn, Alabama.
Yep.
When another one of these living freaks must have been having a bad day, and he hacked her to death, threw her body parts in the woods. Her dog stayed with her body parts. He stole her truck. That's the way he was caught. He's another one. His name is Rashad Abadab III, something like that. And nobody is talking about this.
That's right.
The woman was beloved in her town.
Yeah.
A beautiful, brilliant woman, a professor, hacked to death walking her dog. And I guess this guy was having a bad day and needed to hack somebody to pieces. And I believe there's another blonde student on the West Coast somewhere, which the same thing happened to on public transportation.
Yeah.
And nobody is talking.
Yeah.
I would love for you to look it up and let the public know about this veterinarian professor.
Okay. All right. It is. All right. Appreciate the call from Tamarack. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. Craig? This is Chris. I'm in Los Angeles, calling from the seventh layer of hell, if you will.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the call. I just had a couple of points here. One is regarding the Van Jones thing, and it sort of actually ties into the first caller, the 22-year-old, about 9/11 and everything. Is that basically it seems like the modern liberal party has been so overtaken by feminism that, and I'm sure anybody who's tried to date anybody in their 20s or 30s recently can attest to this, that there's no accountability with the modern female, and you see that in every single position that the left takes. It's total hypocrisy across the board, to the point that they expect to just they skate on that. They never expect to be called out, and when you do, they cannot handle it. To the point, even when you pointed out that the caller was wrong, his whole point about I'm sure he's Zohan or whatever. I'm sure he's hasn't said that or done this. It's you point out that he's wrong, and then he still leans into righteous indignation somehow.
Yeah.
He still tries to find a way to justify his feelings rather than admit reality and move forward from there.
Yeah.
It's obstinance on a Yuri Bezmenov level of pointing out that it's going to take a boot on their neck for them to actually figure it out.
He did an immediate pivot to defend
anyone.
him, not condemning 9/11. You're right. I mean, it was
right.
I mean, that's how the left operate.
And it's borderline insanity, because you can't have a decent conversation, let alone a progressive one, with anyone who thinks that way.
I'll tell you. See, here's the thing. There are just some things that are not appropriate. At this point, if Zohan, who's refused to condemn the Intifada, if he condemns 9/11 now, it's meaningless. He's just doing it to say the right thing. It means nothing at this point.
Well, and the guy's a hypocrite front to back. He's out here saying he's an anti-capitalist, but he appeals to Wall Street for, he's trying to get hundreds of millions of dollars out of people for campaigns, which again, it's just leftist hypocrisy that we're all supposed to act like is normal. And I know that the right has their own problems too, but the idea that hypocrisy is a calling card is not something that we lean into. And if our leaders do it, we don't elect them on that. Whereas they'll celebrate each other for winning on hypocrisy, and we don't do that.
It's true. That's true. All right, I appreciate the call.
Yep, thank you.
All right, if you're on hold, stand by. The President of the United States, he addressed the nation yesterday afternoon about all this violence.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people, really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
Yeah, this is just... Finally, we have a leader, a president, who's standing up to protect the American people who are being terrorized. And after everything that happened, this idiot mayor in Charlotte won her primary last night. I was reading a report today that said that the trains in Charlotte still do not have added security on them after what happened. If you're on hold, hang in there. After the next break, we'll take some more calls. Our number is 888-465-2631. I want to ask you this. Are you in pain? Well, that means you haven't gone to see Dr. Philip Appleton and taken advantage of his incredible laser wave pain treatment. Have you been in a car accident and you're in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton and take advantage of his laser wave pain treatment. All those pains you have from a car accident, your neck pain, whatever, the whiplash, knee, arm, hand, wrist, whatever you have, the laser treatment treats that pain. And I'm here to tell you it works. The first pain Dr. Appleton relieved me of 3 years ago, over 3 years ago now, was my right knee, where I'd suffered for over 30 years in pain. That was from a car accident over 3 decades ago. And it wasn't even that bad of a car accident, but I was a passenger, but I had that pain all those years. Dr. Appleton rid me of over 30 years of suffering. And you know what? After he gave me that treatment 3 years ago, not only is the pain gone, here we are over 3 years later, it has not returned. It's amazing. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain, too. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. The consultation is free, and if you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look them over. Online, AppletonChiro.com. Go see him and say bye-bye to your pain. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We'll be back shortly. What a great statement from the president, huh? It really was.
Amounts to.
This was crazy with Tom Homan and Mika yesterday.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. Mm-hmm. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you what's happening.
That puts fear in the community. Right. To park the ICE agent's vehicle
they're on a
near
public
a church.
Street.
They are
on a public street.
She said
they're on a public street
sir.
waiting to respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Perez, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or younger. They arrested Kaylee Espinosa, a 34-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim.
I mean, these are the people ICE is picking up that the Democrats are upset are being picked up. I mean, the worst of the worst.
Arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 24-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution. They also arrested Samuel Armando Barrera, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala pending charges for assault and battery on a child. So Mayor Wu and Governor Healy, they ought to be calling ICE and thanking them for making their streets safer.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're new to the program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Subscribe if you're new. I have two live streams here in the morning live. If you're watching on the live stream with the green screen behind me, if you go to my other stream here on YouTube, you can see and hear the video and the audio and everything that I play and get the full green screen effect. Just hop over to that stream. But I mean, and look at the smirk on Mika's face, so condescending. He's going through these god-awful criminals that they're arresting, and look at the smirk on her face.
Protecting their communities and taking these people off the street. They've turned a blind eye to this. They're sanctuary cities. Sanctuaries, cities, and sanctuary states are sanctuaries for criminals. Give ICE access to the jail to arrest a bad guy in the jail rather than have to go in the community to find them. Because when you go in the community and find them, it puts ICE officers at greater risk. It puts the community at greater risk. It puts the alien at greater risk because anything can happen on a street risk. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to prioritize public safety threats. But when you got governors and mayors who are releasing these public safety threats every day into the community, that causes the crime.
He cleaned her clock, didn't he? I mean, he's just wiping the floor with
I'm right. And we've seen some terrible incidents in the last few days where innocent victims are murdered. This past year, I've seen innocent Americans raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to be here. So rather than going back and forth and say, well, ICE has got a car parked near a church, that is ridiculous. You're out there looking for people like this, exactly what they're doing.
Well, I would argue that actually the ICE vehicle parked outside a Spanish mass is a frightening sight, given what has happened in this country. I also, with respect, sir, thank you for the information that you have shared on this show, but we would appreciate all of the information.
Oh, my goodness. He just read her a detailed list. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute. If you guys also could subscribe if you're new, like the video, and if you could take the link to the program and share it on your socials, that'd be greatly appreciated. It would help quite a bit. All right, we got about 20 seconds or so, then we'll be back. All right. Have any of you ever seen a crime committed that was violent in person? I've just never seen somebody in trouble health-wise where when the threat was gone, people didn't intervene and help them. This is the first time I've seen something like that. All right, we are back. Rough day. Just to recap a little bit, the new video that came out from the subway, or not the subway, but the train attack in Charlotte, North Carolina, don't watch it. I mean, it's so disturbing. I have to watch this stuff so I can talk about it. And I don't like watching this stuff. I really don't, but I have to. The new video that came out of Iryna from the train is so disturbing on so many levels. Murder is always horrific, but I think most of us, I know I did, I assumed because he stabbed her twice in the neck that she died right away. She did not. She died slowly. She knew what happened. She died slowly and slowly bled to death right there in that seat. After the monster did what he did, he left, walked away. She's surrounded by passengers. Not only did not one of the passengers get out of their seat and try to stop the bleeding with their hands or take a shirt off or something, some even took their phones and started filming her dying. I have never seen an incident where somebody had a health issue in public and strangers did not intervene and help. I'm talking about the threat was gone because the killer had left. It's in the video. He wasn't there. There was no longer a threat. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Texas?
Yeah, go ahead, Texas. Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk to you about the judges and the prosecutors.
Yep.
They passed a law here in Texas years ago where bartenders could be prosecuted if they overserved a drunk person.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Killed somebody in a drunk driving case.
I remember that was a controversial thing. If they see somebody's like falling down drunk and they continue to serve them. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And so I don't understand why these judges and prosecutors that let these hardened criminals get away aren't prosecuted themselves.
Well, look, we had that judge a few months ago that tried to help those illegals escape from a courtroom that's being prosecuted. And that case is held up. That judge, that was the first time.
That.
Yeah, that's the first time. But you're right. How many people have been killed in America because of Democrat judges letting them go on prior crimes? Yeah.
I think they should be held culpable and prosecuted right along with the criminals.
Yeah,
the family should be able to sue the judges and prosecutors.
Well, when you're a judge and you've got someone who's a lifelong felon, violent criminal and all that stuff, and you let him go, you have some responsibility. Like as a parent, when your child is underage and they get into a car accident and kill someone, you're responsible.
Exactly.
And yeah, you're right. Good point. Hey, listen, appreciate the call from Texas. If you're on hold, hang in there. Also, we've been talking about Mom Donnie. Listen to this. This is some Zoom thing that he made. This is Zohan, running for mayor of New York, doing this online Zoom question interview. Listen to this.
Are prisons obsolete?
Hear that? Okay, so he's asked the question, Mom Donnie, are prisons obsolete?
Are prisons obsolete?
Whew, coming through with the quotes, coming through with the titles of the books. I have to read that, actually. I haven't read that as yet. But I think that, frankly, what purpose do they serve?
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Right?
What purpose do they serve?
I think we have to ask ourselves that, which is that, I think a lot of people who defend the carceral state, they defend the idea of it and the way it makes them feel.
Wow. There you go. He's against prisons. Prisons are obsolete. I can't believe this guy's ahead 3 points in the polls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm just wondering what you would have done if you were on that bus with your phaser or your Spock years or whatever.
Well, if there was someone who was bleeding to death, I would get up and take my shirt off and try to stop the bleeding. Wouldn't you?
No, I would have been watching the ape when he got up. That's what I've been.
Oh, you're the tough guy. You're the tough guy. You're the tough guy, right? You would have taken him down.
Well, I would have buried a few. I would have.
Well, that's good. No, that's good. So all of us would like to think we would do that, but it didn't happen. I mean, so what's your comment on these people that didn't do what you say you would have done?
I don't live around apes anymore. I moved way away from them. I live in the national forest now, and I don't have to worry.
Oh my goodness. What a mental patient. What a mental patient. But isn't Zohan a mental patient? If he, I played a clip of him yesterday that he wants to empty out Rikers Island. There's too many people in jail in Rikers, and he wants to release them into New York City. Now we've got this interview of him where he's saying that prisons are obsolete now. They serve no purpose. This is crazy. It's not unusual to have a pro-crime, pro-criminal Democrat, all right, running for office. However, we're going through a massive crime wave with high-profile incidents like the train incident. And to be soft on crime to the degree that Zohan is, okay, while this crime wave is being fought by the President of the United States, that's a little unusual. And we're in a spot right now in this country that we've never been in before. Now, I want to ask you this. Do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy? Oh, man. If you answered yes, you know more than I do. The pain and suffering from neuropathy makes life truly unbearable. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the dizziness, the falling down all the time. I recently realized, just talking about Lighthouse Medical and neuropathy treatment as I'm doing now, when I was a kid, my great-grandmother used to fall down all the time, and I bet you she had neuropathy, just never was diagnosed. The muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in your hands and feet. Maybe you have no feeling at all. Listen, call Lighthouse Medical. I'm going to give you the number. They can help you no matter where you are in the United States. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, so you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. It works. Steve had neuropathy bad, man. He had it bad. He was bedridden. We had our MAGA cruise coming. We had an appearance coming up. He's like, I can't go. I don't want to go. He got his neuropathy treatment. Not only did Lighthouse Medical rid him of his neuropathy, it was over 3 years ago, and his neuropathy symptoms have not returned. So Lighthouse Medical in Pompano have a neuropathy treatment, a treatment that works, and a treatment that lasts. Give them a call, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Taking out...
I want to pull this up. Listen to this. This is... I tell you, the left have lost their minds. Okay, now you may not have noticed because there's so much going on in the news. This isn't getting a lot of play, but President Trump took out another drug boat with the military strike. So that's 2. All right, and it must have been the cartels testing. Will they do it again? Okay, this is Chuck Todd talking about President Trump taking out the drug traffickers' boats. Listen to this. This is on Chuck Todd's podcast. Oh, now it freezes. Hold on. I just played it. Let me refresh the page and then we'll play because I just played it.
Taking out this ship, not boarding it, not sending the message that way, not arresting these individuals, or boarding the ship, or frankly, to make sure you know what you know. They, quote, just decided to send a message. This is what Secretary Rubio said.
That's right. Blew the drug trafficking boat out of the water with the military. Right? And what do? They sent another one. So they did it again. Let's see if they send a third one.
And again, I know politically this is going to seem popular. Ends justifies the means. We're getting rid of these bad narco traffickers.
That's right.
This is good.
Yes, it is good.
Venezuela, if Maduro's upset, this is good.
Correct.
But we have a constitution.
Oh, my goodness.
We have a process.
Yeah.
We're sitting here behaving no different than Putin's been behaving in his region.
Wow. I mean, he's defending the drug traffickers now, Chuck Todd. This is where the left have gone.
He designated Ukraine as essentially a threat like this. They were not, he used the word Nazis. And all of this has been his rationale for invading this country in their own sort of, again, claiming some version of self-defense. This is the same crap that Putin's pulling, except he's not in a democracy, and we are. Show us your evidence that you knew what was on that boat before you blew it up.
Oh, my goodness. So Chuck Todd thinks the President of the United States and the Secretary of War and the Secretary of State are just blowing up people on speedboats for no reason?
Just decided to blow it up. Are they going to share this intelligence? When we have a Congress that's...
No, it could spoil the source, right? It could blow the source.
Acting as if it is an co-equal branch of government, there'd be some immediate hearings. I haven't heard anything. It's been crickets on this.
Crazy.
And it appears we're going to do more.
Yeah, that's right. And look at this. This is Grok. Based on my research, Chuck Todd covered Obama. This is Grok on X. Chuck Todd covered Obama's drone strikes journalistically on Meet the Press, such as the 2015 accidental killing of the American hostage, Warren Weinstein. He probed the policy's risks, civilian impacts, but didn't show any personal outrage. Exactly. Chuck Todd. It's just Trump derangement syndrome. He hates Trump, so he's defending drug traffickers. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in about 30 seconds, and I'll go to the calls. If you want to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. Yeah, they're sick. We're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. By the way, we took out another drug boat. Isn't that great? President Trump took out the first drug trafficker boat from the Venezuelan cartels the other day, and they sent another one, and they took that out too with a military strike. This is awesome. You think they'll send a third? They were trying. The second one was a test, to see if they would do it again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi there, I'm Mark. I'm calling from Boston.
Mark in Boston. What's on your mind? The land of Mayor Wu.
I know. I have a question for you. Can I read a quote for you? It's very brief, and then I'd like you to respond if that's all right.
We'll see. Read it. I can't. I'm not going to promise I'm going to talk about it, but we'll see.
Okay. I'd like to get back. It's going back a few years to what President Trump said about wounded veterans. Said quite a few things. Because there's a quote from General Kelly, his former chief of staff, who, as you know, is a retired four-star Marine general, who said that, quote, not me, from General Kelly, that, quote, he is a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all suckers because there is nothing in it for them.
Mm-hmm.
End quote.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about that.
There have been other...
Slow down. Let's talk about that. General Kelly. How did things end with General Kelly and Trump before he wrote that filth?
I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you would agree with me.
That's from the Army Times.
I'm sure your source is the Army Times. Okay, I'm sure that.
Oh, it is.
I'm sure that you agree that context for things is important. Correct? Context.
I do. I would hope so.
General Kelly was fired by President Trump. Okay, and he wrote this book saying that President Trump said that these veterans, those who lost their lives, are suckers and losers. I've been hearing this for years. Can you share with me the quote of President Trump saying that?
Share it with you how?
Well,
I just shared with
certainly.
It's on the Army Times.
No. You read a quote from General Kelly, who was fired by the president, who was plenty pissed off.
That's correct.
Where's the quote of President?
We're
not going to other quotes. We're going to talk about this one. Okay.
All right, let's go.
So, where's the other witnesses? You know, if the president said this, only Kelly heard it. Where are the corroborating witnesses? Where's the audio or video of him? Where's the actual quote of Trump saying it?
It's from who I just cited. It's from
General Kelly, who wrote that after he was fired. When people are fired, publicly fired, especially a guy who's a general who's never faced rejection in their life, okay? When people are publicly fired by someone and then they write a book about that person, do they typically write positive things or negative things about the person that publicly fired them in front of the world?
But that rests on the presumption that
what I'm telling you is General Kelly is a liar. He's a liar.
So if you're fired, so if somebody fired you or me today, does that mean that we're just going to say things about them that aren't true?
Well,
because I think that you are not a bad person. I don't think that.
Yeah, but I'm not a bad person, but General Kelly is, because he's a dishonorable man who's a liar.
Okay, what about another Fox News? This one is from a Fox report. This is from Fox. Okay, I know you like them probably. It's right here. It's from Fox News, according to Jennifer Griffin, citing anonymous senior administration officials. So this one I have to give you an anonymous one. The last one I just gave you Army and Military Times.
No, you gave me General anonymous. Kelly. They were quoting his book.
I gave you, okay, well, I'm giving you a different one from Fox. Trump called the Vietnam War a stupid war, which I think he was right about that. But he also said anyone who went was a sucker. That's what he said.
Where is the actual quote of Trump saying these things? That's also from General Kelly's book.
Fox News.
That's Jennifer. That's Jennifer Griffin, who's a deep state hack who hates Trump, by the way, who is quoting General Kelly's book. Right. Don't you find it interesting that you don't hear? Excuse me. No. Slow down. Slow down for a second. We'll get to the third, your grand finale. Both that Jennifer Griffin, she was quoting General Kelly's book, just like you were in the first time. Same person, same source, General Kelly. Another person has never come forward to say they heard President Trump say that. Only the guy that he publicly fired.
I'll quote Trump now. I want to quote the president now. It's on video. This is him. Anybody can look it up. When he referred to, and I know you're familiar with this, when he referred to John McCain as, quote, not a war hero because he was captured, and added, I like people who weren't captured or don't get captured.
He says, I like people that don't get captured. Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of these quotes, though?
Well, when I think of worship. What did John McCain do that was heroic?
I'll tell you, he was tortured in Vietnam when he was shot down.
No, you're talking about. I met John McCain once and everything else. You're talking about, because we've seen the. I met him at the Republican convention once. We've seen video of him when he was captured, after he was shot down, where he had his arms in the cast, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't from torture. His injuries were not from torture. His injuries were from the crash. The injuries he had were from the, excuse me. No. The injuries he had were not from torture. They were injuries sustained in the crash that he got shot down in. So that was not torture. That was from the plane crash.
Okay, so you're trying to divert here. And
No.
okay,
I asked you what he did that was heroic.
What
What did John McCain do that was heroic? It wasn't torture. That was from the crash.
Served and he remained in. I forget if it was the Hanoi Hilton or Da Nang. I can't remember where he was captured. But
the Hanoi Hilton.
He refused. Excuse me, I'm not finished.
Yeah, the Hanoi Hilton.
He refused to leave. I'm not finished. He refused to leave until his other men
couple
were
things.
released.
Couple things about John McCain. His father was a senior admiral in the Navy at the time. I can't remember what job he held, in the Navy, but he was a senior admiral. The VC knew about this, and he was not treated like the rest of the prisoners because of who his dad was. He was a propaganda tool. I agree with President Trump. He was not a hero. In fact, he was responsible for a lot of injuries and deaths in that aircraft carrier accident that he was responsible for, that he caused a fire on the aircraft carrier. Yeah.
What's your source for that?
I'm going to look it up during the break. It's been a long time since he's been dead for 10 years.
Right. So you don't have a source, is what you're
I'll
saying.
have it in just a second. No, excuse me. Listen, I take calls live and screenless on the program. I don't have a Rolodex of files with everything that anybody will bring up that I can just punch. It'll take a second, and I'll pull it up for you. But John McCain was responsible. This was obviously prior to his capture, to an accident on an aircraft carrier. I think it was the Forrestal. And he, let me pull it up. He discharged a rocket on his aircraft on the flight deck. I'll pull it up in just a minute. Here it is.
Typically what happens when you're on the flight.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was 134 killed and burned. It was the Forrestal. It was off the coast. It was a lot of them, and it was really bad. It went down several decks. And he was allowed to fly after he caused a deadly fire on the Forrestal. Why do you think he was allowed to fly after he called? And you can look this up after the call. When he was responsible for this fire on the Forrestal, why was he still allowed to fly?
I have not read, you may not be a Vietnam vet yourself, I have not read the details of his...
Well, I'll tell you why. He was allowed to fly because his dad was a high-ranking admiral.
Because his dad, okay, well, I don't know what his father has to do with it. Of course, privilege in life.
In the Vietnam War, he almost sunk it. What I'm telling you is, think about this. He did something the VC never did. He almost sunk an aircraft carrier in the Vietnam War.
I have never heard of that, but I think what you're doing is you're gish galloping. That's what you do on your show. I know you do it. You gish gallop.
No, I'm talking about what you brought up. You brought up 3 quotes. 2 of them were not Trump quotes. The one about John McCain, I like people that don't get captured. And we're talking about whether or not he was a hero. We're on John McCain. It was 1967, the USS Forrestal, which was considered the first supercarrier. Okay, on July 29th, off of Vietnam, McCain discharged a rocket off his F-4 Phantom jet, striking an A-4 Skyhawk, and it caused a massive fire, and a lot of guys were burned and died, and they almost sunk the carrier. John McCain, and he was allowed to fly after that. So I'm just telling you, he's not the hero that you want to think that he is.
My general question was about, do you think those quotes from Trump are appropriate or do you not?
Well, the first 2 quotes are the same quote. Okay, the first 2 quotes are the same lying statement. Okay, you had 2 different sources, Jennifer Griffin in the Army Times, Military Times. They were both quoting the general's book. He lied, and there have been people that were around during that.
What about General Milley? What about things he said about Trump?
General Milley is a Trump-hating, very strange man who...
Okay, so everybody in the military is wrong, but you...
No.
I suppose that's the case.
No.
He's a lying... Yeah, so this is what
Oh, really?
do.
No. Raisin Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he's a good guy. The Secretary of War is a good guy.
He is.
But you mentioned John McCain, and I'm here to tell you that John McCain shouldn't have been flying that day. He got himself shot down. He was not qualified. He almost sunk an aircraft carrier.
Well, I'm glad after reading for about 1 minute.
No, I've known about this for decades. But just John McCain died like 10 years ago, and we haven't talked about McCain in a while. You brought something up out of the wild blue sky, and I pulled it up for you. This isn't like something that's random. I've talked about that when John McCain was around and doing his crazy stuff. I talked about this a lot, and you can research it yourself. Hey, listen, I got to run for the break, but appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian, and I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I'm so excited about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Not only have I lost all this weight, and I've got my chin back, my square jaw back, I got my neck back, my belly is flat. I thought, I'm 54. So I just assumed, I'm going to have a bare belly for the rest of my life. That's just part of growing up. No, I have a flat stomach now. I've lost several inches off my waist. My blood pressure is normal for the first time in decades. I weigh what I weighed when I got married 29 years ago. And I did all this without exercise, without starving myself, eating foods I would normally eat, and without taking prescription medications or shots. And it's courtesy of Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Yeah, and my results are typical. Give them a call, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. Call us on hold, stand by. Back after this. Oh, boy. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'm looking for my commercial copy. Okay. Now listen, if you'd like to support my channel, the radio show, my podcast, everything I do, go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout. You can use my promo code on all the specials at mypillow.com. And, of course, the free shipping offer is still in effect. Right now, the closeout sale of the year on the Percale bed sheets, any size, any color, just $29.88. That means if they have every size from twin all the way up to California and split king and every size in between. Save up to $90 off with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And, of course, free shipping is available as well when you go to mypillow.com. But all these great specials, you can take advantage of them all with my promo code Kane. I was talking yesterday, the MyPillow towels were out of stock for quite some time. They are back. You can get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for $30 off with my promo code Kane, Kane, just $39.98, normally $69.98. And don't forget, you've got the free shipping offer available too. So go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. We'll be back in about 30 seconds, and I'll go back to the phones. That was an interesting call. The great Mike Lindell, absolutely, who got his phone back. All right, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. One opening on the board. Welcome back, one and all. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. There's one opening on our board at 888-465-2631. You know, that last caller is interesting. We're talking about this murder on the train that happened. A Democrat murdered this Ukrainian child, 23-year-old girl, set free by Democrats to murder, and all these other things I've been talking about. And we get this guy from Boston, and he, for some reason, he thinks he can discredit Trump and wants to bring up these very old stories about Trump. In fact, the John McCain story, that's over 10 years old. I like people that don't get captured. That was during the first campaign. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Howdy.
Yes. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Aaron, I'm from Texas.
All right, Texas.
I just wanted to say most of the studies. I'm Brian Craig.
Yeah, you got to turn down the volume in the background. There's a delay, so I know you want to hear yourself, but yeah, turn it down.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Little nervous. From the studies I've read throughout my entire life, these started in the 1970s with bystander effect. Yeah, it's progressively gotten worse with cameras and phones, but natural instinct now is to just grab their phone and film instead of actually help.
I didn't understand what you said.
here.
The bystander, what? Okay, let me tell people what you're referencing, and then calm your nerves and explain again.
Bystander effect.
Oh, hold on.
It's
Slow
a
down.
bystander-
What the caller's referencing, there's new video of this poor 23-year-old child. After the Democrat murderer walked away, she didn't die right away. She died slowly. She knew what happened. She was bleeding out. The other people on the train, not one person got up to try to help her stop the bleeding, and some of them took their phones out and started filming her dying. So you want to tell me about the bystander effect?
Yeah, pretty much. It's showing that society has actually gotten worse than the 1970s, where people would actually help. Nowadays, people are now just bystander effect is completely taken over.
Well, I don't know about studies, but I've seen it. I've been out in public and seen people have heart attacks and see people come out and help them. You know, my mother-in-law she's retired. She's a registered nurse. She was a nurse for 50 years. She was on vacation, staying at a hotel resort, a Marriott, and she was hanging out at the pool, and a child was in the hot tub and went under the water and was drowning, and their brother took them out and they weren't breathing, and my bystander mother-in-law performed aid and resuscitated the child, brought her back to life. I was in a grocery store once here in Florida, a Publix. A guy had a heart attack on the frozen food aisle. People helped and even gave him CPR. Now, I've seen many times over my life medical emergencies and people helping. I don't know. I don't have to read some study from some think tank. I mean, I've seen what happened on that train after the threat was gone and the murderer left. People not helping and filming her dying on the phone. That's sick, twisted stuff, and it's not normal.
I'm agreeing with that. But apparently, the effect happens when no one steps in to help, where it basically makes it where people are just frozen in a stupid thing, basically.
No, I think you've got. I think Charlotte is a city of uncaring liberal monsters. You know, I mean, that's it. I mean, they still haven't upped the security on the train after that horrific murder.
And I'm agreeing with that. And basically, from what I understand, it's a psychological conundrum. Basically,
it's not a psychological conundrum. You've got a city of uncaring liberals, and for all I know, maybe they didn't help her because she was a white girl.
That's probably true. Actually, no, wait, they probably didn't help her because she's an Ukrainian.
How would they know she's Ukrainian?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, there we go.
But
first dump of the day. All right, there we go. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the kind of guy that would take out the phone and film. All right, first dump of the day, Mike, and we almost got through. We got through almost 2/3 of the show without the dump button. If you're on hold, stand by. I've got to wait for the delay to re-engage before we take more calls. But while we're doing that, I want to pull up. Let me pull this up. I played this earlier in the show. I want to play it again though, because this is sick. This is Van Jones on CNN. He's talking about the train murderer. Listen.
Let me just say a couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible, and it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, subway, whatever, that something bad is going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering.
Oh, really? It didn't stop them when George Floyd died to inject race, or when Trayvon Martin died, immediately inject race. But now all of a sudden, oh, no, well, we don't know. We need to know. We need to see.
It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass.
The George Floyd Act is why there's a crime wave across this country, right? You get your no cash bail and all your stupidity. That's your George Floyd Act.
When you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting.
Oh, yeah. He needs therapy. If he only had the right therapy, he was hurting inside. That's why he did it. Yeah, he was hurting. You don't know what his day was. What an animal Van Jones is. I'm in shock. Van Jones has always been a liberal, but he in the past he's been kind of reasonable. Now he's just a monster.
Felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out. It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself.
See, he's upset at Charlie Kirk's words, not the murderer's actions. He wants to talk about the murderer's feelings or the judges that let a murderer free to kill.
No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
Van, I'm agreed.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Sloman Shield. Sloman Shield, they have something new that is super cool. It's called the Sloman Shield link. Listen to this. The Sloman Shield link, it takes your everyday routines around your house and your preferences and connects all the devices in your house based on what you do in your home. Listen to this. You get home, your lights, your music, your TV, all turn on as you enter the home to the TV channel you want, right? So if you're Newsmax, Fox Guy, it's there. Or music, it's on the songs you like on your playlist. The Sloman Shield link can add almost any scenario and create scenes based on what you want to happen. Whether you want your thermostats to turn down when you turn your alarm on, that's a pretty cool thing. Turn your thermostat, you forget to turn your thermostat down when you leave the house, it can connect it to your alarm. Automatically lock your doors, make sure your security lighting's on, and a whole bunch more. The Sloman Shield link is compatible with all the devices you already have in your home, not just your phone, but your other devices as well. Give them a call, 833-283-5050. It's the Sloman Shield link, 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050. All right, let's take a call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Let me turn you off.
Yep.
I just wanted, oh gosh.
That's okay. That's a great show you got on in the background. That's the number one show in America. I love that. I love that show. I wish I could listen to it, but I'm working when it's on the air.
I know.
Go ahead, Barb.
You got the patience of Job.
That's for
sure. You got the patience of Job. And you really do. I just want to address something because I was married to a soldier for 33 years and still a Democrat, and they're raving lunatics sometimes when it comes to being a Democrat. And the gentleman who called from Boston quotes from people in their books. But it's just I've never seen anyone collaborate what General Kelly had to say, or Mark Milley. Mark Milley is a traitor who gave information.
And remember,
to
to the Chinese. Remember, Milley was in high school, was on the same football team as that Rachel Levine. Remember Rachel Levine? They were on the same football team together in high school. What's that tell you about Milley? Barbara, I'm out of time for the hour, so I got 5 seconds.
Oh, well.
All right, take care.
See ya.
All right, take care. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome, guys. If you are new, make sure you subscribe, everyone. All right. Oh, here's the president. I was going to play this when we get back, but I'll play it for you guys now. This is the president in front of the restaurant talking about that that fake letter with his forged fake signature.
It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time know that's not my language. It's nonsense. And frankly, you're wasting your time. All you do is trying to get off the great success of D.C. and about 200 other things we've done that are so successful. This is a great, great success, and we have so many. I don't think any president in their first 8 months has had anywhere near the success that we've had.
Yeah.
My signature.
Isn't that something? Yeah, there he goes. And he's going to go after them. This is great stuff. I mean, we're if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to be back in about 30 seconds. All right. All right, 10 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. The third hour has begun. If you're on hold, stand by. A few things I want to recap here at the top, and then I'll go back to the phones. One of the things I was talking about earlier, President Trump went out to dinner last night with the Vice President, the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of War. They went out to a restaurant. It's not one that Trump owns, and it was unannounced. It was totally spontaneous. However, the Code Pink ladies were there protesting. They even got inside the restaurant, and there's a lot of video that they took, the pink lunatics, and posted on. They were really close to the president and the vice president and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of War. Laura Loomer has been all over this, and she said somebody leaked this. Someone leaked the location of the senior cabinet. And who was it? Was it Secret Service? Was it the local police? Was it, who knows? Was it someone that works at the White House in a civilian capacity? We don't know. But someone leaked this. Major security breach. And if things went south, this is what Loomer said, we could have woken up today with President Mike Johnson. So who leaked this? Pretty scary. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hi there. I completely agree with that woman from Texas about holding these judges accountable. They're starting to hold the parents of these kids that do the shootings accountable. So why not hold these judges? It's ridiculous. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I think that video and any kind of thing like that should be put out there for the public to see. So these people actually see what goes on. Most people will not, total libs are not going to do anything, I say, until it comes to their own doorstep. But
well,
anyways,
and earlier with Joellen, before you get to that, what Joellen's referencing, a caller in the first hour made a very good point. She said there was a law passed years ago holding bartenders accountable for serving drunks at the bar who go out and kill in DUIs. So what we were talking about, should these judges that let known violent felons and killers go free, like the bartenders, should they have some responsibility? I would say yes. Yeah, without question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Anyways, the other thing is Benny Johnson had on his clip yesterday talking about the guy that killed the Ukrainian woman. He was saying as he walked out, I killed a white woman. I killed a white woman. So there is a video. It can be racial, and he called out Van Jones.
Okay. Now I'm not. I've seen that. I've not seen it confirmed that. I'm not sure that maybe it was. Maybe it was. I know a couple. I know Benny Johnson saying. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. I don't know about that. I need to hear that. In what context who did he say? Is it video of the killer?
As he's walking out, as he's walking off the train, you can hear him saying it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
3 times.
I'll take a look for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's confirmed. If it is, somebody tag it to me on X and I'll play it. Because I don't know. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
So anyways, it just... Yeah.
All right, Joellen. You make some good points. Yeah, I did hear that, and I actually meant to look for that this morning before I went on the air, and I get busy sometimes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Popping Up.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, so, yeah, a lot of people have been saying, the last woman who called has said, I got that white girl. He did say it, but another fact that people aren't really pointing out is
he did or didn't? Wait, did you say he did or didn't?
He did. He did in fact say it.
Okay, I'll look for it and I'll play it.
As he's walking away, he kind of gets away, and then he walks down to the carriage. He's like, I got that. He's like mumbling to himself. But another fact is, just notice everyone else on the train was black, and he didn't stab them. I know you could argue that, oh, well, she sat in front of him and being the psycho that he is, it set him off. But, I mean, if this guy had, he wasn't set off by any other person on the train who was black or Hispanic. She was the only white girl there, really. And she sat down in front of him, and then 4 minutes later, he gets her 3 times in the throat. So, the guy was a complete psycho. We need to start doing something about these judges, and not only the judges and the DAs, but the people who fund them, because there are people, NGOs, and certain individuals who fund these people's campaigns specifically to get them in because they have the agenda that leads to what we see now, a destabilization of societies. People do not feel safe. In every communist regime, they always release all the prisoners, and then they always penalize people for defending themselves. So this is just, it goes deeper than just the judges. Okay,
now I'm going to tell you, I just did a quick search while you were talking. I don't see that audio. So I don't want to say that's, if it was said, somebody tag me on X with it, I'll play it. Because I don't want to, I'm confident that was the cause of what he did, but I don't want to report something until I hear it with my own ears and get it confirmed.
Sure. I understand that, but I'm telling you, he did say it, and I listened to it day before yesterday, and you can barely hear it, but if you listen again and again,
it just seems like, why isn't that all over X? That seems like something I wouldn't have to search.
I've seen multiple people make mention of it.
Of the audio of him saying it. He said, "I killed a white woman."
Yeah, I mean, just search. Got like white girl Iryna in X, and like or you can just search white girl Iryna.
I am.
And like
That's what I'm searching.
Yeah.
I'm searching all those things.
Well, I'll send it to you. I follow you. So, but yeah. So that is the context of it. But again, I don't want this. It's very dangerous because I don't want this to be solely about race. Because what will happen is we are playing.
I found the video. I'm gonna listen to it during the break, and then I'll see, and then after the break I'll play it. You got listen. When you have these high profile things, you've got to be very careful what you report, and because they use anything to discredit you. They're listening and watching all of us. You, me, and all of them. So you got to be very careful.
But they're not. But yes, they're going to discredit us anyways. I mean, I know this is a game as old as time, but just think about it. If it was in reverse, if it was a white guy who stabbed a young black girl, Van Jones wouldn't be crying about, we need to understand this victim and the pain he's gone through.
Oh, I know, it's insane.
He would be in tears. He would be in tears.
I mean, he didn't want George Zimmerman to go into therapy. I mean, come on.
I mean, just think of George Floyd. We can use a more recent example. With George Floyd, they knew Derek Chauvin's intent was racial animus, even though there was no proof. They couldn't tell.
And the autopsy showed that the fentanyl killed him, too, right?
Yeah, of course it did.
All right, hey, listen, I'm going to run, but I appreciate the heads up on that, and I will be playing. During the break, I'm going to play for myself the audio, and if that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying. But I'm going to have to hear it for myself. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Trisha from Minneapolis again, bus driving.
Hey, Trisha, the bus driver. Yeah, by the way, Trisha is we've got Richie, the bus driver.
Oh, yes.
This is Trisha, the bus driver from Minneapolis. All right, Trisha, the bus driver.
Yes, I heard it yesterday, too.
Yeah.
I totally heard it yesterday. So I can't wait till you look it up.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm careful. I've got the audio. I'm going to play it to myself during the break. Yesterday, Joe Rogan got into a big argument on the air with his producer over some video that was AI that they played, and Joe Rogan didn't believe it was AI. In this era of AI, you've got to be so careful with this stuff.
Yeah.
And the other side like to sabotage us by putting things out there to get us to grab onto.
Right. And I know that I know I sound a little bit too excited about it, but just when you actually see and hear it, like I heard it rewound. What show? I can't remember what show it was, but it was like, oh yeah, he said that. He's like, I got that white woman.
Oh, I've got the audio and I've got the piece of video in question, but I'm going to listen to it during the break. All right, appreciate the call. All right, all right, appreciate it. And we're coming up to the break. I want to talk about Mike Lindell and My Pillow. I want to tell a bit about the towels again, because I know I talked about the towels yesterday, but the My Pillow towel set was out of stock for a while. They're that popular. Okay, they're back. The My Pillow 6-piece towel set, just $39.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. That's $30 off. They have 10 different colors. I have these towels. They're the best towels you've ever had. And remember, the free shipping offer is still in place too. And you can use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout on all the specials at mypillow.com. All right, we'll take our break, and I'll listen to that audio during the break, and I'll report after. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Okay, all right, stand by. We have about 20 seconds. Hold on. All right, and we are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Great. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, today I was going to talk about the fact that a great estate plan, it really doesn't matter if you don't have language in it that can help protect your assets from one of the biggest risks that we face as we age, the cost of long-term care. So if you or your loved one, you or your spouse become ill and need care, then the question becomes, how are you going to pay for it? And there could be a situation where what it comes down to, you being able to qualify, is the language that's in your estate plan. And if you lack the proper language, and we go over this in the seminar, the language that you would need in order to qualify for Medicaid, then what happens? Then you end up spending down your assets. And like I said, even if you had the greatest estate plan that was ever created, you could end up losing it all.
That's right.
And then there'd be no inheritance to leave to anybody. So you really want to make sure that you have an estate plan that's going to protect you during your lifetime, not just distribute your assets at death.
That's exactly right. And remember, it's a no-charge in-office consultation with the Siegel Law Group, if you mentioned you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. And anytime you hear these workshops, it's a great, you're missing out if you don't go to the workshops. You get a lot of information. And, I don't know how many of your workshops I've been to, Barry. I've been to a lot of them, and there's not been a single time I've gone that I haven't learned a lot of new stuff. What you do is not some cookie cutter thing. It's really not. I mean, it's really detailed what you do when it comes to all of the planning. Give the Siegel Law Group a call. 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. Much. All right, I listened to the audio from that video that everyone's been talking about, and I'm not confident to say that's him. I'm just not. I'm not saying it's not him, but I'm not confident that it is, and I'll tell you exactly why. The quality is too good, and his back is facing the camera. I don't see how they got on a noisy train with people and everything else. I don't see how they got audio quality like that without any other noise. And I know a lot of people say, well, they can use noise reduction. I do audio for a living here, right? So I know audio. That voice, there's no audio reduction that's been used on that voice, because when there's a loud area and you use audio reduction, it takes sound from everywhere. And to have the voice as loud and clear as it is in that, you would have to do a lot of noise reduction. And the noise, when you turn the noise reduction up to the kind of level that you only hear his voice when he's not, like right now, I'm right in front of a microphone. Okay, I've got my mouth up to the microphone. I'm almost touching it with my lips. I'm so close to it. He's not on a mic, and he's very, very far away. If they used noise reduction to the level to isolate his voice like that, his voice would sound different. Because the noise reduction, the higher you do it, it takes noise from everything, including the main voice. So I don't trust that audio on the video. One, his back is facing the camera. It's supposedly audio from the security camera in the train. His back is facing the camera, and he's walking away, and the fidelity of what he says is too loud. So no, maybe he said it, and I'm not saying that wasn't the reason. I do believe it was a racially motivated crime. I think he killed her because she was a white girl. Okay, I'm confident of that. But you've got to really be careful, because this is something I learned from Rush. Was talking about this. He said, and there was something that happened, which I'm not going to mention, that was in the news because I don't want to get sidetracked on that with callers. But there was something happening in the news, and Rush went on the air and told everyone. He says, we've all got to be careful now. They're all listening, trying to catch us saying something. And a lot of times you don't want to be, you don't want to get ahead of a story when there's something out there that's, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So, and I know Alex Jones has been running with this. I know some others have. I need more verification before I play it and say it's him. All right. Okay. Our number is 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Brian. I went back and took another look at we talked about this North Carolina sickness, this unbelievable thing that happened. We talked about it.
Oh, and by the way, I want to say that before you get into your thing, Doug, when Doug called earlier, and I disconnected your call by mistake, and I'm not telling you to call back today. This is for a mental reminder. Call me back another day and remind me there was something I wanted to ask you about. I was watching. He's a musician who played on stage with Sting, and I was. My wife and I last night we were. Have you seen any of this footage online of David Lee Roth singing lately?
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness! No. Oh my goodness! It's so bad. I mean. He looks, listen, I'm a huge Van Halen fan and a huge David Lee Roth fan. And when David Lee Roth left Van Halen, I did not listen to Van Halen for over 20 years. And then I realized I missed out on some great music, and I love all their music. And I went back, Sammy Hagar's Spectacular, What Is Love, and all that. I was missing out. But he looks like a senile old man in late-stage Alzheimer's, and he's on stage not singing, just smiling, while the black background singers do all the singing. And I highlight that they're black because Jump is not really, gospel. At least it wasn't. And it's very strange. And he also, what they highlight in these videos, he has perhaps the smallest penis known in the world of rock and roll as well, which you can see clearly in all of his concerts through his leather pants. But I noticed that there was something about the stage I wanted to ask Doug about. But anyway, go ahead. Back on topic here.
I got you. Well, sometimes when you get those little, you're talking about something and bang, something comes into your head, you got to get it out.
Yes,
you forget it.
You'll forget.
So
You'll
good.
forget. I forgot when I was talking to Doug earlier. I would have brought it up back then, and and David Lee Roth is trending on TikTok right now because of these performances. It's hard to believe, but
Well, after the show, and only after the show, I will. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a look at that.
That's right.
But
anyway, go ahead.
Sorry. The discussion about this poor girl in North Carolina, and I went back. I had not really looked at the video without emotion. I kind of because it's hard not to. So I had to get myself into a place where I could look at it from a completely just sort of like a detective, unemotional, and just really analyze things. And I can I know yesterday I talked like I would get this guy, but there's no way I would have been. Nobody could have stopped this guy because it's normal behavior. He stands up, people stand up. That wouldn't have alerted me to anything. And by the time your brain processes what the hell he's doing, it's already done. Now maybe after the fact, somebody might have been able to jump the guy, whatever. But what I would have done immediately after realizing what had happened would have been to help the girl and yell, call 911.
Yeah.
And that's all you could do. And I don't even think if there could have been an experienced field medic there that spent 10 years or whatever.
Well, listen, I agree. Sometimes things happen. We've all had this happen. someone will say something and you don't respond because it's so shocking that this person said, So the shock of what happened, and it did happen quick. So I'm not faulting them for not jumping in front of this madman with the knife. I'm not faulting them for that, because I think the way they reacted, I know we all want to say we'd be the big hero, but we can't say that until we've been there. But afterwards he left, and they not only did they not get up to help her with the bleeding, they started filming on their cell phones her dying. It's a whole other level of sickness.
I don't think. I mean, here's the thing. I really don't think that it happened so fast. The fear, the shock. They knew something bad happened. But here's the thing, Brian. You played Van Jones today, and basically, Dr. Frankenstein, created a monster in a movie. Van Jones and this, medical team of Democrats, they have created a generation of monsters, racist monsters, these trans monsters, hate monsters, really. And the no law and the fear and the shock.
I got to tell you, you're right. And, Van Jones has a lot of... Van Jones... See, this is what I think. The more I think about it, I didn't think about it until you were talking. And then, Van Jones deep down feels some responsibility, because all this is happening because of Obama's presidency. All this BLM and if I had a son, he would have looked like Trayvon and Antifa, all this stuff, Occupy Wall Street. This is all Obama's doing. And Van Jones feels, although it's a little removed, he feels some responsibility in this crime wave that's going on nationwide.
Yeah, they have baked this cake of hate in every different way, every different area, every different minority. They got into the alphabet community. They've gone every place and everywhere, crook and cranny they can go to create a divide, to create this. And I mean, you look at it. I mean, listen. I don't know if that guy said it. Got the white girl, whatever. I mean, it's listen. The girl sat down in front of him.
It was a hate crime. It was a hate. What other motive 100%. Was there?
100%. I mean, and if it were, the one caller is very, very good caller, young man, speaks very well. Brought up the if we did the shoe on the other foot, forget it. It would be over.
Listen, we all know that there's certain places you don't go. Where are you calling from again? I forgot.
I'm up in Massachusetts.
Oh, you're in Massachusetts. Oh, you're physically there? Okay, I thought you might have relocated to Florida. You're in Massachusetts. Well, for those that are local here in South Florida, if you're white, you would not walk down Broward Boulevard just east of I-95 at night. If you did, you'd be taking your chances. I mean, there's certain areas where you don't go, and you're at risk. People know this. There's good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, and when you're white and you're in a bad neighborhood that's mostly black, you stand out. It's an extra level of risk, right?
Yeah, that girl, Brian, on the bus, I think that she felt comfortable and safe there because I think she believed that she was like with her. She thought she was like with her people because she, I remember you saying what you saw in her room. I just think she felt comfortable there, coming from Ukraine and all that. I just think she got on that bus and didn't have any fear.
She should have had fear. And I told you, I was talking yesterday, she had a BLM, Black Lives Matter poster on her wall at her home. I mean, she didn't know any better. She was new to the country.
They were her friends, She walked right into the it's like Mondami in New York City. Mondami, the story Trump tells about the half-frozen snake.
Yeah.
Mondami, this Lohan, whatever. He's a hydra.
Yeah.
Of sort of Islamist, commie, Democrat. I mean, he's like
a
Loki.
That's right.
He's like a Loki type character, a snake, and they're all inviting him into the friggin'. They're all inviting him in, and
correct.
when he gets in and has power and warms up, he's going to bite the hell out of the apple. He's going to eat the friggin' core.
Yeah.
Well,
listen, I gotta run. I'm late, but I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. If you have any thoughts on this, the number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Yeah, I wanted to pull this up, guys. This is Geraldo was on with Fredo Cuomo last night talking about this incident.
The criminally insane, I submit, have no right, once they act out. Everybody that kills someone's crazy. I mean, I think it's crazy to kill someone. But
no,
this
I think some are
person
bad.
allegedly
I think some people are just bad.
He allegedly muttered racial statements that no one's talked about.
This
and
guy's
I haven't confirmed,
crazy.
so I'm not going to repeat them. After the act,
this guy's crazy.
He
had
crazy.
a
motive. His motive was that this was a white chick. That's his motive.
Maybe
his motive was that this is the most vulnerable, hateful to him, vile symbol to him. A blonde chick sitting in front of him in the subway.
I get it.
The criminally.
Yeah. So Geraldo's saying that it was racial. What do you guys think? Yeah. I mean, there's no other explanation. You know, this is the video. Okay, this is the video inside the restaurant that was taken by the Pink Ladies. How did Code Pink get this close to the President of the United States on an unannounced visit to a restaurant? And look at him. He's staring them right down. They were tipped off. There's no doubt about it. They were tipped off. It's bad. I mean, someone leaked out that he was going to be there. That's just the way it is. Someone leaked out he was going to be there. I mean, I have just never seen some of the things like we are seeing today. We're in another space than we've ever been. Where is that? There's a couple stories I haven't gotten to yet that I'm looking for. I'm not going to have time to find them either. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Call us on hold standby if you'd like to call in. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. You know, all this democratic socialism and lunacy of the left. Listen to this.
I literally was in a former communist.
By the way, this is John Fetterman.
Nation. And I asked that. I said, some people in my party, some of the lefties are talking about socialism now. What do you think? He's like, that's the worst thing ever. You're going to need a reality check if you ever adopt any of those things. You know, like you are morons.
Okay, you're a moron if you are a socialist. So I guess he's talking about Zohan and AOC and Bernie Sanders. You know, this is an interesting thing. He had that brain surgery a couple years ago, Fetterman. Before he had brain surgery, he was one of the most radical liberals I've ever heard in my life. He disappears for a month or so, gets brain surgery, and he's talking like President Reagan, right? It's a very whatever surgery they did, that may be the cure to liberalism. He may have found it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, I am Michael from Tennessee.
Yes, Michael. Ugh.
I just want to know, why are you so afraid of immigrants?
Afraid? You think I'm afraid of immigrants? No, I'm not afraid of immigrants. What do you think I do? Hide from immigrants? When you say I'm afraid, what do you think I'm afraid? I'm not.
What? Like, do you think, like, you don't think they don't contribute nothing to the country?
This accent you have, what kind of accent is this?
No, like, you shouldn't care. Just answer my question.
No, like I have an American accent. You have a
I'm American. No, I'm American too. So just
with this accent.
Answer my question.
With that accent,
yes.
That's not an American accent.
Yeah. Are you so shocked? Are you so shocked?
What's the root of that? Is that Mexican? Is it Venezuelan? What kind of accent is it?
I just don't give a fuck. Just
all right. Second dump of the day. What that call shows, yeah, I know, Mike. Just I thought we get to the. Can we get to the show without using the dump button? If you're on hold, stand by. I'm waiting for the delay to rebuild before I go back to the calls. That's the kind of immigrant we don't need, who makes demands, starts dropping language if they don't get the response they want. Are they, wherever he came from with that accent, are they sending us their best? Or are they sending us their worst? Oh, my Lord. I'm sure he's American, Latin American, South American, Mexican American. I don't know, but he's not a United States of American. Oh, my goodness, with that accent. They say that's a Los Angeles accent, too, was similar to that. Well, the Los Angeles accent used to be, remember Valley Girl? That used to be the Los Angeles accent. Like, oh, my God, The accent's changed out in Los Angeles, hasn't it? All right. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bruce from Lake Worth.
All right, Lake Worth. What's up?
That third quote from that guy from Boston about Trump saying that those aren't heroes, the ones that got caught. That was a Chris Rock joke. He was repeating a Chris Rock joke. He was probably needling John McCain because John McCain hated him.
No, Trump never said that. It actually, what it came from General Kelly's book.
No, the third quote where he said that if you got caught, you're not a hero. He did say that, and it was a Chris Rock joke. That's all he was doing, was repeating that Chris Rock joke.
Oh, Chris Rock said, "I like people that don't get captured." I never heard that before. All right, I'll look it up. Okay, I'll check it out. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Good morning. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Oh, hey, Nick.
I wanted to bring something up. It's tied in with what you're talking about with the attack on the train in Charlotte. I also hold the media responsible because they're revving up people to do violence, and I don't know. I mean, I know that NBC, which currently owns MSNBC, is going to be changing their name in January.
It's Ms. Now. Ms. Now is going to be the new name.
Ms. Now, MS Now. Well, NBC owns broadcast licenses. And they can be deemed unfit to be a license holder.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, there's something else also in the Communications Act, I believe. I'm doing this from off the top of my head. I know that when I got into broadcasting, I had to take a test for my FCC license to operate equipment.
Yes.
And in the back of that form, now you just send away for a card, but in the back of that form it was you can't broadcast false or misleading information to cause social.
Well, they would. Yeah, they. I was talking. I've told this to Mike, the board op at the radio station. I wish I still had my card, Nick. I didn't keep. Maybe it's in a box at my mom's house somewhere, but. If you worked at a radio station and you ran equipment, now I'm not talking about on the air, but if you did you got licensed by the FCC to do it, and we used to have these cards. Yeah, and you would have a card, and you had to have this card, and now you don't need anything. A heartbeat maybe.
You just send away to Harrisburg or somewhere.
I don't think they issue them anymore. I haven't heard. I haven't seen anybody with one of those like in 30 years. 25 years.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't. I remember you had to pay for it. And the radio station wouldn't pay for mine. I had to pay for mine, and it wasn't the radio. I remember it was a big deal, and they had to have the cards on file, and all that stuff.
Well, there were different classes of licenses. I had what they called a third phone. But there was a first phone. That's a chief engineer. You could actually build a transmitter. You have to know.
Well, I worked at a radio station where we had to physically. We had radio stations oftentimes they power down their wattage at night, right?
Yeah, I had to do that too.
Yeah, so I worked at a radio station where if you were a board op, you had to actually power up and power down the transmitter every day.
I did that too.
Yeah, so to do that, you had to have the FCC license.
We had an array. We had to maintain the directional pattern, and you had to maintain that.
It was a big deal.
Stay within parameters.
Yeah, there's no rules now, though. There's no rules now, though. Nothing.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that there's got to be something in that Communications Act, or even these cable outfits, like what Van Jones is saying. I mean, they're spewing racism.
Yeah,
they're
but that,
spewing
a lot
unrest.
of you start doing that, all of a sudden I've got my Trump 2028 hat. They call me racist. You got to be careful with that stuff. Hey Nick, I appreciate the call. I'm going to look for my FCC license next time I go to my mom's. I'll dig through all my stuff.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I'd love to find. I'm sure the card's gone. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Lynn from Boynton.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, I was just this poor sad girl, when I see the video of her getting on there, she obviously felt comfortable because she was coming home from work and she's been on that train before.
I don't know about that. She was pretty buried in her phone, like trying not to get people's attention, right?
Yeah, yes, and the thing is, it just goes to show you have to be aware of your surroundings no matter where you are. And had I been getting on that train, I never would have sat in front of that guy. And just because of how he looked, just looking at the video. Never mind in person.
Well, if that was my daughter, she wouldn't have been there alone. A lot of this, a lot of this is feminism. Women never used to go out alone on places like that. My daughter, to my knowledge, has never been on public transportation alone.
Oh wow, yeah, good for her. Yeah, but to your knowledge, like a parent would say.
Exactly. To my knowledge.
But what a beautiful young lady cut short in life, and. It's just so sad the whole country is like this because, I don't know, it took a while to get to this point.
Well, no, I'll tell you,
it happened overnight.
My daughter's 26, and, you guys know, she moved back to Florida. She went out to L.A. A couple weeks ago and stayed out there for a week or two. And, obviously her car's here now. She drove back to Florida from California, and she was going to take an Uber. From the airport and around. So what my wife and we rented her a car for the whole time. It wasn't cheap, but we didn't want her to get in the car with these weirdo Uber drivers. I was hearing stories in the news. My daughter, I'll tell you something that happened. My daughter, and now, I don't let her do this anymore. She flew home when I was on, she flew home from Los Angeles to visit when I was on our last cruise. And I always take and pick her up at the airport. And she took an Uber home. Oh, no, excuse me. In the morning, I was on the air. And I was on the air. And I wasn't on the cruise. It was after. I was on the air at the radio station. And I was up in Palm Beach. She flew into Fort Lauderdale. She took an Uber home. She's in the car on the highway. And the driver said, hey, I'll do it cheaper if you pay me cash. And she says, no. He turned off the app. As if she had been delivered to where she was. And can you believe this? This was a few months back. I was on the air. She had the wherewithal. When I'm on the air, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, which I've adjusted that since this a little bit to allow her. She texted my mother-in-law and told her what was happening. Wow. And and she had a tracker, and he did bring her to our house, but waiting here at the house was my father-in-law for him. And we were on the hunt. And I told her never again. So she went to LA. I said no. So we rented her a car, and it was not cheap, which is fine. But anyway, I want to make this girl that life was taken by this Democrat. Your kids are always your kids. Women should not be going around alone. Women are very vulnerable. There's, and it's just not safe for women to travel alone, especially in situations like the one I described or public transportation. It's not public transportation.
Now, what about when she went back to California, and since she's been in Florida now, did she see a big difference from when she lived there? Did she really when she went back to visit, and now it's like, boy, I'm really glad I don't live here anymore.
Now, she likes California. She likes it.
She does,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but
well, you're good You're good parents for being that way, and when your mother says to you, "Where you going?" just tell her.
Well,
because
it's just
a crazy world.
I tell you, a friend of mine. I remember, when our kids went to school together, and my daughter's a year old, and he's like, "Oh man," he's like, he was telling me, my daughter, she's tomorrow's her first day. She's gonna be driving alone, going off somewhere. And I said, well, think about it. When we were kids, we didn't have cell phones, so our parents had no idea where we were. At least you can get her on the cell phone,
right.
But it's scary. But women should not be out alone. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I know that sounds sexist or old-fashioned, but it is. Most women will tell you.
It's life now.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and people have to also get their gut feeling. When the hair on the back of your neck goes up, pay attention to it.
I talked about this a couple years ago. I was at a gas station getting gas, and these girls pull up. These two girls are like in high school age, and they're putting air in their tires. And I saw this creepy homeless guy was up there talking to them. Okay, and I stayed there after I was done pumping gas until they were done and left, because I don't know who these girls are, but it was just, I wanted to make sure they got away, okay, without this homeless guy tossing them in the car. That's just normal, it's not safe for women.
Anywhere. Well, I thank you for being a great father,
Yes.
and your wife being a great mother.
Yes.
And everything, and paying attention to what's going on with your daughter.
All right, take care.
Great.
Appreciate the call. All right, we'll take our last break and be back. Hey there. Great. Hold on. Now I'm gonna play this when I get back on the air. I want to play it for you guys during the break. Now, Mike Johnson said Trump was an FBI agent. Remember on Friday, I've been talking about that. Carolyn Levitt said it's not true yesterday. Listen.
Mike Johnson came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed.
Okay. Now, I was waiting for someone to call me about it, but nobody's brought it up yet, so I'm going to bring it up after the break. I don't believe her. I think that what the speaker said was true, and that he wasn't supposed to say it, and he let out some secrets that she's covering for. But I'll say it on the air when we get back. All right, we are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Metals looking good. Amazing. Yesterday we hit another all-time record high of $3,669 the ounce.
Oh my!
With December futures contracts hitting $3,700. So the market is doing amazing, and it continues to do so. Yesterday, gold trading in a range of $36.24 to $36.69 before reversing and closing lower on the day, down $10.70 on profit taking, which closed the market at $36.24.20. Silver was down 48 cents after hitting a high of $41.51, closing out the day at $40.80 the ounce. Platinum lost $14 at $1,370, and palladium was up $2 at $11.39. Of course, these pullbacks don't last very long, because we're right back up over $22 right this morning. Overnight, gold trading in a range of $3,618 on the low to $3,658 high. And right now, gold's at $3,647 the ounce. That's back up $22.80. Silver up 30 cents at $41.10 the ounce. Platinum up $20 at $1,390, and palladium up $31 at $1,170. So the pullbacks don't last long. In fact, if you blink, you miss them. So if you're waiting on the sidelines for a pullback before you get into gold, you're probably going to be looking at much, much higher gold before you realize you've been late to the party. So
oh man,
the time to buy is right now.
Yeah, I'm not the expert you are, but at these prices, it wouldn't be surprising if we hit 3,700 if it was just for a minute or two in the middle of the night or something, right? I mean, it's like $50-something away.
Oh yeah, we're so close that it's almost a shoe-in now, but yeah. We're now looking at much higher numbers.
Oh man, this is great. Listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Or give them a call. And remember, you can do all your transactions over the phone and through the mail. Very easy. 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. And find both his address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to play this. I was waiting, with all these weirdo callers, I was certain somebody would have called me about this about 6 seconds after the show started, but no one did. So I was waiting to bring this up until somebody did, and maybe somebody on hold will bring it up still, but I'm going to do this before we get to the end. Now, on Friday, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said that President Trump was an FBI informant working undercover to bring down Jeffrey Epstein. Remember this? I've been talking about it since. Yesterday, Caroline Leavitt was asked about this at the White House press briefing and denied it. Listen.
Mike Johnson, he came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed. Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I thought for sure there would be somebody who called me 10 seconds after the show started saying, oh, Caroline, yeah, you're wrong. No, and it's almost 9 o'clock. No one's brought it up. So I'm going to do it. I just tell you. I believe Mike Johnson. I think Caroline Leavitt is not telling the truth. Not that she's a liar, but I think Mike Johnson revealed top secret classified information that he wasn't supposed to out of his frustration with CNN, with the conversation. And I do believe it's true. It was such an out of the blue thing that he said. And I don't think the president wants people to know that he was an FBI informant to bring down Epstein, because confidence is something people have to have in him. They need to have the trust and all of that when they're speaking with him. So no, I still stand that he was an FBI undercover informant to bring down Epstein, and the speaker blurted out some classified information that he wasn't supposed to. I bet you that happens a lot, actually, that where these officials drop classified intel they're not supposed to. All right, let's go. Oh, hold on, wrong line. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. Now, Geraldo Rivera, who, of course, because of his reporting, is responsible for a lot of these nutcases on the public transportation. He was on with Fredo Cuomo last night. Listen.
The criminally insane, I submit, have no right, once they act out. Everybody that kills someone's crazy. I mean, I think it's crazy to kill someone. But
no, I think some are bad. I think some people are just bad.
He allegedly muttered racial statements that no one's talked about.
This guy's crazy.
So I'm not going to repeat them after the act.
This guy's crazy.
He had a motive. His motive was that this was a white chick.
Hear that? That's Geraldo Rivera, Trump-hating liberal Geraldo Rivera.
After the act.
This guy's crazy.
He had a motive. His motive was that this was a white chick. That's his motive.
Maybe.
His motive was that this is the most vulnerable, hateful to him, vile symbol to him, a blonde chick sitting in front of him in the subway.
There you go. Geraldo Rivera, the first liberal to call it out as what it is, a racially motivated hate crime. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Michael from Tennessee. Yeah, I just want to know, what do you think about the lie that Donald Trump has been saying that he's an informant now about the Epstein files?
He never said he was an informant.
No, yeah, he said...
No, he didn't say. Mike Johnson, aren't you the guy I talked to a little while ago that wouldn't tell me about his accent?
No, just answer the question, bro. Did
No,
he or did he not say?
nope. I'm not answering your. I'm not answering your question.
Bro,
You won't answer my question. I'm supposed to sit here and be interviewed by you. You won't answer a single question, bro. I don't think so. But Geraldo Rivera, you know, this is an important point about Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo Rivera saying as plain as day that this was a racially motivated hate crime. Is that going to be a snowball effect now? Because he's a liberal. Are the liberals going to be able to say it now, since he's the first one to do it? Now, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Guys, if you've not called them yet, call them. You know, they can help you no matter where you are located in the United States. In fact, I heard through Ian, our travel agent at Cruise and Travel Depot, that some of our cruisers that live in other parts of the country have lost tremendous amounts of weight from Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and that's a great thing. And they're a whole other part of the country than Florida. So no matter where you are, they can help. And, you know, my results are typical. And, you know, you've seen my results. If you guys watch me on YouTube, you can see the difference. I notice it most on my Instagram. I go on my Instagram, and I see how I looked in January, because that's when I started. I met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret the first day with Dr. Zuckerman on Inauguration Day, because I met with Dr. Zuckerman for the first time at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and then I went to Wings Plus for our Bye-Bye Biden Bash on Trump's inauguration, and then I started the Monday after that, the Coastal Weight Loss Program, because I was going out of town that week, and I said, I better start when I get back. And little did I know, I could have started it before, because I didn't starve myself. I eat foods I would normally eat. I've done zero exercise, zero. And I haven't taken any medications or shots or any of that stuff either. And that's why I've been able to keep the weight off, because I didn't do any lifestyle change to lose the weight. So now that I'm what you would call the maintain phase, it's effortless. You know, if I had been starving myself or eating terrible foods that I didn't like, or I had to exercise like 4 days a week or something, I'd gain the weight back. But with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, there was no lifestyle change for me. Now, if I would have exercised and stuff, I would have lost the weight faster, but I lost about a pound a day. So, I mean, that was fast enough for me. And by the way, my blood pressure is the lowest it's ever been since I was like a kid. It's amazing. My belly is flat. I've lost inches off my waist. It's amazing. Give them a call. My results are typical. Okay? They are typical. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Now, last night on Hannity, of course, the great Pam Bondi made a really big announcement about this whole thing, which is going to be the beginning of change. You know, there's a massive crime wave in this country that the Democrats have brought us, and Trump is going to end it. Listen.
This progressive DA was not holding people accountable for crimes. You have to have consequences if you commit crimes. Yet 14 arrests. The guy had been to prison for firearm charges for a robbery, yet he was on the street. He should not have been on the street, Sean. That beautiful young woman would have been alive today. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with prosecution, and that's why my office has taken this case. We will not let a progressive DA get this case.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. So, you know, he's in trouble, this guy. And now that Pam Bondi's on the case, there's going to be a complete investigation done as to how someone who has basically a lifetime criminal, you know, his brother, the killer's brother, is in the news saying that his brother shouldn't have been free. Okay? Yeah. You know, I could only imagine what the family's been through with this guy. You know? And an investigation needs to be done. See, what's happened is these radical judges that they have on the local and federal benches are radical revolutionaries who are purposely causing a crime wave to help bring down, in their mind, the fall of the United States. It's the Cloward and Piven strategy. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I know, isn't that crazy? The big 5-0 will be less than a year from now. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow. Oh man! All right, we're clear from the radio station. Welcome. If you're new, anybody new in the to the program today, like new, like today or the last week or two, welcome to all of you that are here. If you're new, I do a morning show. I'm on a whole bunch of radio stations, and when I'm on the radio, I live stream here on YouTube. But I start the show early. The show's 3 hours. I start the show early, and I go late a lot of times. And if you subscribe to the channel, not only do you catch me here in the morning, I live stream all the time. In the afternoons, I do my podcast, which I live stream here and take live calls just like I'm doing now. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Michael from Tennessee. Again.
Yeah, I mean, this is your third call. I'm gonna tell before I'll answer. Hold on a second. It's one call per day, and I know you're new to the program. But I'll let you ask your stupid question, but this is the last time we'll talk today. It's one call per day, man, okay?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Michael from Tennessee again. I just want to know, how do you wake up and defend pedophiles?
Well, because I don't. Yeah. I don't think 3 times. I don't think I'll be talking to him again. He's the one that wouldn't tell me his where his accent's from. And he called in and he said, "Why are you afraid of immigrants?" That's what they're sending us. That is what they are definitely sending us. But anyway, in the afternoons, I live stream here with my podcast, which is the same format, and I take calls. And of course, I'm here all the time. So make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel, guys. All right. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you want to support my program, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of the video. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions to all of my podcast episodes. Every time I upload a new podcast, Patreon supporters get a free commercial-free edition of it. There's a link in the description of the video. All right, guys, I'll see you later on the podcast. Thanks for watching.